jobs added last month, a slowdown from 177,000 the month before. The unemployment rate looks to be holding steady at 4.2%. 45-year-old Islamo terrorist Mohammed Solomon could have killed more than 10 people in Boulder. He now faces more than 100 charges. Solomon is hit with 118 state charges, including 28 counts of attempted murder plus assault and even animal cruelty. He's due in U.S. District Court in Denver later today, and Boulder County DA Michael Doherty had some words to say.
What I will say is the charges reflect the evidence that we have regarding this horrific attack that took place and the seriousness of it. Although this prosecution is going to be laser focused on the defendant and the responsibility that we have, I encourage all of us to continue to lift up the victims.
News brought to you by Lair Fireplace and Patio, Denver's premier source for everything fireplace, patio, and grills, locally owned and operated since 1954, online at lairfireplacepatio.com. Game 1, NBA Finals, 9 seconds to play, Indiana down by 1.
The Pacers with a chance to win it. Final seconds, no fouls to give. Halliburton looking, Halliburton driving, pulls off, jump shot. It's good! With 3/10 of a second remaining. Timeout, OKC. Tyrese Halliburton does it again.
And the Pacers shocked the Thunder 111-110 on the road. Game 2, NHL Stanley Cup Finals tonight in Edmonton. And the Rockies open a series with the Mets tonight at Coors, and they go for 4 straight wins. 48 in Castle Rock, 49 in Lakewood, 51 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue. It's also National Donut Day today.
Time to make the donuts. The donut. It isn't easy owning a Dunkin' Donuts.
Blake Olson News Talks. Oh, it's delicious.
Love that.
News, yes, just
So
for you,
good.
Billy.
Oh,
Do we
thank you.
get free donuts? Does anyone bringing the donuts by the studio
What?
today?
Have you met
National,
this?
National,
No.
National Donut Day?
You didn't bring them, Jeff?
Yeah, no.
No,
on. No.
So there's two very different personalities this morning.
Yeah.
When it comes to the show, there is somebody that gets here 10 minutes before the show starts, barely awake. There's somebody else that gets here an hour and a half before the show starts, and it's full of energy when the show begins. You can guess which one's which.
Who knows?
but
And
you
now,
know-
back in the day, like, Lamar's and everybody else used to bring donuts around to the radio stations
Yes.
on Donut Day because they'd want us to say, look, we just got free donuts from...
Right.
That doesn't happen as much
I'm
anymore.
like, there's Krispy Kreme down in
I know.
Quebec
Lamar's-
in C470.
Lamar's are my number one. We did this
Really?
last year.
Lamar's?
They're so
Yeah,
good.
Lamar's are like the greatest to me. How about you guys?
Yeah, I like Lamar's because Lamar's to me is like stepping back in time for my childhood, and it wasn't a Lamar's at the time, but when my memory of the best donuts I ever had were when it was during the summertime and I was off school, and my dad would wake me up at like 3:30 in the morning. We'd get together and we were going to go fishing, and the treat was that we would stop. He'd get coffee, I'd get hot chocolate, and we'd get donuts. And Lamar's taste like the donut shop, and it was just a one-off shop. This was not a franchise.
Right.
It was like in the middle
Mom
of
and pop,
it was a mom and pop place, and
Right.
Lamar's reminds me of that. So for me,
Yes.
that memory is so strong, and it feels like I'm a kid again. So yeah,
I agree.
Lamar's does it for me. That's just because of that memory.
Right there with you. Take it away, man.
Well, so
Oh yeah, what about you?
real quick,
Yeah.
if anybody's listening and wants to text message the station and bring us donuts,
Yes,
we're not
yeah,
opposed to
donuts.
it, and we'll give you the address.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
Right.
We'll bring you on the air. We'll have you
Yeah,
talk.
that's right.
Absolutely.
That's how
For an
easy,
hour.
Yes,
that's
we
how
will.
easy it is to get on our
It's so
station
easy.
these
Yes,
days.
bring donuts and food, and we'll bring you on the air. You kind of realized our love language here, so that's okay.
All right.
Oh, thanks, Greg. We'll hit weather, and we'll bring it back with you if you choose the news. Get ready.
you, Blake.
All right, man. Thanks.
Yep. You bet.
All right, we're talking a lot today about Trump, Musk, what happened yesterday. And it happened so fast that you may just need help understanding exactly what took place yesterday. Okay, so this is CNN. About 10 minutes into the bilateral meeting with German Chancellor Friedrich Merz on Thursday, President Trump was finally asked about the domestic elephant in the room, Elon Musk and his sharp criticism this week of Trump's agenda bill. He hasn't said anything about me that's bad, Trump said. I'd rather have him criticize me than the bill. Trump certainly got his wish. By the end of the meeting, he and Musk had quickly moved from what had been a legislative difference of opinion into the realm of personal attacks. Musk effectively live tweeted his responses to Trump's comments on his social media platform X, getting progressively more personal, and Trump ultimately hit back hard on his own platform, Truth Social. It was the kind of clash many predicted would eventually arrive when the two powerful, outspoken, and unwieldy billionaires formed their alliance of convenience last year, and it's now arrived in a big way. Late Thursday afternoon, Musk responded to an X user who chose Musk over Trump and called for the president's impeachment by simply saying yes. It's increasingly hard to see how this spat gets resolved without getting even uglier given what's being said, CNN thinks. Shortly before the Oval Office event, Musk specifically invoked Trump's flip-flops on the national debt, citing years-old tweets from when Trump was more of a professed spending hawk. Where's the man who wrote these words? Musk asked. Was he replaced by a body double? Hinting back to Trump saying that that's what happened to Biden. That's kind of funny. But Trump has never been particularly sensitive about his rhetorical consistency or fiscal conservatism. And as the minutes wore on, things got much more personal. Here are the comments that really stick out and will seemingly be hard to move past, CNN thinks. I think they will move past it. But Musk links Trump to Epstein. Musk really went there, accusing the Trump administration of withholding information about the disgraced financier and convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein because it invokes Trump himself. Time to drop the really big bomb. At real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. This is the real reason they have not been made public, Musk wrote on X. Have a nice day, DJT. That, Bill, to your point, is like going for the jugular. And that was a question you raised. We got lots of comments here about that. Do you believe Donald Trump's on the list? Bill, your thoughts?
No. And here's the thing, is in part, I'm not convinced there is a list per se. I'm just not, because he wasn't running a brothel. And it would be, for me, if I had leverage over all these people, keeping a spreadsheet of that somewhere seems dangerous. I mean, just in general. And I want to bring this up too. Yeah. Okay, it's very important for people to understand this. If there ever was a list, okay, that thing does not hang around. No.
Okay, I want to go back to the Kennedy assassination. Yeah. Right? If there was a memo saying that the CIA, CIA involved in Kennedy assassination, that thing didn't stick around. No. Are you kidding? Somebody went in, pulled it up, and destroyed it. Yeah. Because that thing just powerful people understand that thing just bounces around, and whoever has it has the leverage. They don't want that to exist. No. This is why it's hard to pin down corrupt politicians sometimes too, because if they're smart, they're not writing memos. Yeah. They're not even having phone calls that could possibly be recorded. They're meeting outside somewhere in a field talking about stuff. I mean, it's
doing the X-Files
right.
thing. Yeah.
Smart people cover their tracks.
Yeah, and the also part is that I'm not convinced. Do I think that there was a relationship between Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein? Absolutely. Were they friendly?
They
Absolutely.
talk about that.
Yeah. Did they hang out together? Absolutely. Here's the thing: do I believe that Donald Trump traveled to Epstein's Island? Yes, I do. But I have not seen any proof of him doing any of the lascivious or untoward behavior. And this is going to be hard for everybody that listened to me when we were talking about the Joe Biden administration as to whether or not the Biden administration was weaponizing the government and coming after, using the DOJ to come after Trump. I didn't see any proof of that. I'm looking for proof. In the Trump thing, I see no proof of him doing anything with underage girls or even going and having some sort of wild orgy party onside the island. I don't see any evidence of that. Do I think that it's likely he went to the island? Sure. But do I think I cannot draw any conclusions after that? And I'm not willing to until I see something, because I don't know. I don't think that every time Jeffrey Epstein went to that island with a friend that it was always some sort of wild, Diddy freak off. I just don't think that there has to be times when he was there and they weren't doing the weird stuff.
Well, and so you have to. So what I think ultimately happened with Epstein was he had cameras in those rooms, and so he caught powerful people having sexual relationships with people. Now,
because those people were taken to an island that was outside of the real world, and they felt they were able to do things
and they're
there
drinking
that they
and all that stuff.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
But the spectrum is important to talk about too. Because you can have guys just being inappropriate with women that aren't their wives.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly.
Now, that's a form of leverage.
Yes, it is.
Okay? But is it teenage, underage kids? Well, that's a whole nother level.
Oh, yeah. That's you get into criminal.
And so, all right, we know there's videos because Pam Bondi's talked about it.
Yeah.
The FBI director has talked about it as well. So we know there's videos. So the spectrum of leverage matters as well. But the idea, to your point, Bill, that there's an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah, no way. And if there was, it doesn't exist anymore, only because of we've had a couple of administrations right now, and it would have disappeared. It would have disappeared. Someone in one or the other would have said, no,
Democrats
erase.
would have blacked out all of it with the exception of Donald Trump and released it.
They would have not only would they just that, they would have blacked out all the rest of them and just had his name. They would have changed the font style and made it larger and put it in bold.
He's at the top of the list, actually.
Yes, exactly. Yes, that's exactly what they would have done. So, of course, that if he was on the list, the Biden administration would have, air quotes, leaked it. It would have somehow found its way into the public. No, I don't think he's on the list. So I don't think Musk has anything there.
Why would Musk do that then?
He's trying to hurt him.
It gets to that point where you're not thinking logically, and we've all been in this part in a fight where you say stuff and you're like, gosh, shouldn't have said that. And Musk seemed to have lost his cool more than Donald Trump did yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he sure did. I think that, one, it's an emotional response that he's just trying to harm Donald Trump. He's trying to force him to defend it. But we see this a lot, and in all honesty, you see it with Donald Trump as well. Trump does a lot of things about, some people are saying that this, and I don't know for sure, but lots of people say. That's what Donald Trump does, this type of thing. Elon Musk just throws it out there. But Elon also traffics in a lot of conspiracy theories. So the idea that he would think that Trump would be wrapped up in this through some sort of exposure to conspiracy theory? Sure, absolutely. Have you seen some of the stuff that he has reposted on his Twitter thing? Some of that stuff's crazy. So he does traffic in conspiracy theories. So it would make sense. And also, I just think that he was really at the core. He was trying to find a statement, an attack that would wound Trump and force him to defend something that seems undefensible. Because as soon as Donald Trump goes, no, I'm not on the list, people go, why does he have to say he's not on the list? The best thing is exactly what Trump did. Ignore it. Ignore it as if it doesn't exist. That is the absolute best tactic that Trump took, in that he didn't respond to it. That was incredibly smart. Tactically very, very, very intelligent. Emotionally and just intellectually. That was smart. But yeah, Elon was just trying to take out a knife, and he was just trying to get this, and he's just trying to cut him. He was just trying to get blood. He's looking for something that he can create blood with Donald Trump, and it didn't work. I don't think it worked. But there are a lot of Democrats that think, finally we have the confirmation. It's like, slow your roll. Join
the conversation, 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. All right, Bill and I were talking about mom and pop donut shops a little bit earlier. Let's talk mom and pop when it comes to fixing your heating and air conditioning issues. Because when you go with the big corporations, right? You're getting a sales guy that's probably not going to be there in 6 months. And you're getting passive second-rate service, right? Because it's a big corporation, and they're going to nickel and dime you. and it's about getting revenue in. It's not about service. Well, when our AC and heating went out last summer, we started talking to some of the big corporations. We didn't feel that comfortable with them. We went out and looked and found L&L Heating and Air Conditioning, and they've absolutely delivered for us at our house. They have put in a new furnace, air conditioner for us, one-day installation, no stress, personal service, start to finish. They even followed up to make sure everything was perfect, and came by on a Sunday afternoon when we needed to have something adjusted. There was no problem for them. Our home, totally comfortable no matter what the weather. L&L Heating and Air Conditioning, we got peace of mind. Here's some of the deals they're offering right now. A free programmable thermostat or carbon monoxide detector with new furnace or air conditioner installation. No emergency charges, a $0 trip fee, price match value guarantee on equipment, free estimates, licensed and insured, and a 5-year labor warranty. Everything works great. Our family couldn't be happier. So if you're looking for fast, honest, reliable service, I highly recommend L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. 720-851-1691. Online at bestdenverhvac.com. bestdenverhvac.com. I'm sure glad we called him. That number again, 720-851-1691. We'll continue with your phone calls and texts, and boy, are they coming in. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. This battle between Elon Musk and Donald Trump heating up yesterday. Here's some of the other shots that were taken at Trump by Elon Musk. One of the most sacred of topics in Trump's eyes, according to CNN, is his election wins. Trump claimed he would have won the crucial state of Pennsylvania even without Musk's help. But Musk, who spent hundreds of millions of dollars in campaign for Trump, shot back that he was in fact the reason Trump won the presidency. Without me, Trump would have lost the election. Dems would control the House, and the Republicans would be 51-49 in the Senate, Musk said. Musk then sent another post saying, such ingratitude.
Now, that's interesting for me because I believe that attack about you couldn't win this without me is much more personal to Trump than the Epstein allegation. I think Trump doesn't care about the Epstein allegation. He's like, that
because it's not true.
Yeah, but just in general, he's like, he doesn't think that's necessarily going to, again, even let's pretend that it is true. Donald Trump said he could shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue and wouldn't lose any supporters. I thought he was wrong at the time. I now think he's correct. I don't think, again, I don't think he's on the Epstein list. I don't think he is. But if he was, I don't think it necessarily would matter. I think it would matter to those people that already dislike him, but those that do, I don't think it would change anything. So I don't think that's a necessarily, Elon was trying to bloody him in a way that he thought, but I think it was not the right one. That about you can't win without me, that's emotional. That's a really good dig to get underneath Donald Trump's skin. That's the one that I think really kind of set him off. Yes, I could do this without you, but of course, Elon figures that he can't because he spent all that money, and that's what Elon was doing, is he was buying access to the White House. He got his own little department out of it. Of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And I mean, the president of the United States is selling your product from the lawn of the White House.
Yes, exactly. From the lawn.
Like the idea of
selling
such ingratitude. Give me a break.
I know. And
give me a break.
The thing is that both Trump and Musk have this thing about gratitude. Have this thing about if they don't think that remember when Trump turns to Zelensky and after JD prompts him, you've never even said thank you to us. He said thank you a lot of times. He just didn't when he was sitting there in the Oval Office say thank you directly, please. So there's this whole thing about lack of gratitude that really grinds both of them. So yeah, that's an interesting one that you brought up.
Do you think Donald Trump could have won without Elon Musk?
Ooh, good question. Yeah, I do. I do think he could have. Now, again, if we go back and game it again, I think there's scenarios where he loses, and I think there's scenarios where he still does win. I think it'd be much more difficult. Elon, I do believe, is the wind that really pushed him over the finish line. But yeah, I do believe Trump could have won without Elon. But it would have been much, much, much more difficult. And I think at that point, it really does become a coin flip. It really is a coin flip based on a couple of votes in a couple of counties.
Yeah. I think you're right. Because what you have going on, the dynamic you have going on right now is the dynamic of movement and money.
Yeah.
Trump had the movement and Musk had the money.
Yep.
And they were able to come together and support each other during this election. Could Trump have done it? Yeah, I mean, he had demonstrated in 2016 he was able to win.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Without Elon Musk. Yep. So the movement matters. I want to go back to the root of all this again, which is the bill.
Yes, let's go back to that.
So, big, beautiful bill. Part of the equation that you have to take into consideration at this point is the timing and where we are in the process.
Yeah.
Right? This fight, Elon Musk is exactly right in his analysis of the bill. It's going to add debt to the bill. It's a real problem. This thing is too big. It's brought together all of this funding problems and pork and special interests. Like I said yesterday, you could start with a one-page bill about the sky being blue, and it'd end up being 1,000 pages full of crap that nobody needs. Why? Because this is how Congress works, okay? And I think Elon Musk is running up against the idea of just being an executive that kind of gets his way all the time and dealing with the snake pit that is Congress.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you could introduce a one-page bill And by the time it got through the process, it would be 1,000 pages long. Congress has clearly broke it. You're not going to change it overnight. And you're not going to change it with this small of a margin. And we're still paying Nancy Pelosi's budget.
Yeah, and
okay?
I think
so
also,
if you wanted to have this fight, you have it early on. But this got through the House. I think Trump's right in practicality and going, at this point, we're pressing through. We can continue to chip away at the government. We can continue to do Doge, but we're not going back to the beginning of the process.
Yeah, I think Elon feels betrayed by the process, and I think that's why he's so mad, is because he was brought in as this cost-cutting guru that was going to make the government more efficient, and he sees the people that he's supposed to be helping, the people who were trumpeting him, turning around and spending more money. When he's like, wait, I thought we were talking about cutting and we're going to become more efficient. You're not adhering to what I thought our goals were. So I think Elon really does feel betrayed by the entire process. But I think that both Trump and Elon have struggled to figure out that running the government is not like running a corporation, because Congress is not a series of lower level managers that take marching orders from the White House in order to affect a change or a policy. They are individuals that are representative that sometimes don't even agree with you. I mean, imagine if Elon was running his company, but he had roughly 30% of his mid-level managers that were hired by Meta and placed into his company. That's what you have. You have a different corporation, a different group entirely ideologically that have put these mid-level managers into your company, and you're trying to run them. They're not going to help at all, more times than not. So this is more about understanding how the government runs than understanding how, you go ahead and try to be a CEO, which is difficult.
Join the conversation, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line, 720-819-5115. You got your Friday loser edition of You Choose the News. Coming up, you're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Well, for many of you that may need a cigarette after yesterday's battle.
Oh, yeah.
Next, between Elon Musk and Donald Trump, here's your audio version of that. It's called You Choose the News.
Yes, and it is Friday. That means it is time for the loser edition. Those stories that Jeff and Blake didn't think were worthy of our attention come back for a second shot of glory.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
Let's go. Loser! You're a loser!
The Losers Club.
Bunch of losers.
You're such a loser. You made me feel like a loser!
She's a loser.
You are such a loser.
Loser.
Yes, those fans of the show know this is how we play America's favorite fake radio news game show. I scoured the interwebs for moments this morning. Well, I did it earlier in the week. And then we give them more ridiculous headlines to play this fake radio news game show. These are stories that were passed over by both Blake Olson and Jeff Hunt earlier in the week, feeling they weren't worthy of our attention. But they come back for a second shot at glory. Why are we wasting valuable airtime here on KNUS? Because nobody in charge is paying attention this hour of the morning. So when left up supervised, this is what Jeff and I do. Lesson to us all. Okay, now, gentlemen, Blake Olson is joining us in the news department. Jeff is still in the studio. Your choices of headlines are as follows. Still, yes.
And now for Donut Day.
I know, no donuts yet. Okay, headline number 1, taste of success. Headline number 2, wanna buy your stolen stuff? Headline number 3, in the eye of the beholder. And headline number 4, I'm a fun guy.
I'm
Mr.
a
Hunt.
fun guy.
I am a fun guy, but the science hippies say we may not like some of these fun guys that we may see more of as our climate is changing. Both getting warmer and hotter is going to cause issues for fungus. The scientists are saying we could see a rapid change in fungus in, around, and among us. Yes, there could be a fungus among us. Yeah, I know that was dumb, but still, you know me. Okay, what they're saying is various changes in environmental factors such as humidity, some extreme weather events, getting colder in some areas, will drive a change in some fungal adaptation where they live. One study shows that within 15 years, the fungi like Aspergillus flavirus, a cause of agricultural rot that also produces mycotoxins that are harmful to mammals, will spread its area by about 16%. That would put about 1 million or so extra people at risk from infection over the course of a year or so. Other funguses like Aspergillus fumigatus would increase its range by more than 75%, putting millions and millions of people at exposure. But worst case scenario, it's a weak pathogen, so it'd be like getting a cold, etc. But if you're worried about, if you think getting mold in and around your house, things like that, yeah. Actually, it could happen more often based on what's happening. They're saying the fungus is going to change.
Don't believe it.
Going to be in different areas.
Don't believe it.
Oh, yeah.
No, these are the same people that told you your hairspray was burning holes in the ozone.
But it did. And then it didn't. Then we stopped using the chlorofluorocarbons, and it didn't, and it went away.
Acid rain, all that stuff.
Again, chemicals in
it's
the air.
It's always scare tactics. Now it's fungus.
Yeah. Well, yeah, not a scare tactic. They're just saying it's going to be moving. It's just going to be changing. That you're going to find fungus in areas and places that we didn't before. So these guys weren't necessarily alarming it, saying it's going to kill you all. It's going to be like, what is it? Night of the Living Dead or the Last of Us. Not going to be like Last of Us. That's what it is. So yeah, but they're saying yes, it's going to change, and so if you deal with fungus in and around where you live, how much you have it or where it's going to be, it may change, especially for our farming community.
I believe in more fungus than I do climate change.
Well, the thing for me is it got me because of the farmers, that there could be some, the agricultural rot, things like that, if temperatures and breeding seasons change.
Spies.
All right, now, Blake Olson, taste of success, want to buy your stolen stuff, or in the eye of the beholder?
Let's go with taste of success.
Yeah, the taste of success. This is a fun one. Sydney Sweeney, a very popular actress on the series Euphoria, has a brand new product she's bringing to market. It is soap that her fans can buy, but why would they want some? Because it actually contains some of her bathwater. Yes, the new soap contains some of her bathwater.
I don't believe that.
No, she's incredibly popular online. In fact, many fans have asked to buy her bathwater. So she has hooked up with Dr. Squatch and made a brand new soap bar called Bathwater Bliss.
Whatever.
Yes, that is made with exfoliating sand, pine bark extract, and
fungus.
Some of Sweeney's real bathwater. The thing is, that some of the fans are going to order the soap and they're going to eat it. You know what's going to happen. I mean, if you want a Star's former bathwater, then yes, you're going to eat the soap.
Wait, look, if you're buying that and you're in debt, you deserve it. I mean, it's just like we gotta have the dumbest people.
I
in this
know
world.
the idea.
What's
of
her name
bathwater.
again?
Sydney Sweeney.
Okay.
Yeah. And she does hypersexualize her stuff online.
Buying it right now.
It's like,
Right.
what's the website?
Whoa.
Yeah. Whoa. Hey. Alrighty. Final choice this morning. Jeff
Sydney's
Hunt.
bathwater bliss.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
See, I told you.
Don't drop the soap.
Did you notice that Jeff remembered the name? It's kind of weird. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, here. Want to buy your stolen stuff, Mr. Hunter, in the eye of the beholder?
How are they selling this for $8? I mean, seriously, there's
telling you,
enough
yes.
of it to be made that they can sell it for $8.
That she's a
Did
very-
she jump into a giant vat of water?
She's a very clean person. Multiple baths a day. Constantly exfoliating. Just for you and the fans. All right. So, want to buy your stolen stuff or in the eye of the beholder?
Eye of the beholder.
In the eye of the beholder, a Huntington Beach father says maybe he's going to have to up his game. Chapman Hamburg recently drew the attention of social media and of the police when his neighbors reported him as a homeless man wandering around with a baby in the neighborhood. Now, he works from home, but admits he doesn't really dress up when he takes the baby out for a walk, and people thought he was homeless. So he shared a video online of the police confronting him, and he's like, maybe I should actually put on pants or something next time I go take the baby for a walk rather than just the PJs. So, yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, so they thought he was homeless. It's going to be a great conversation with the neighbors. All right, that's the end of You Choose the News. Back to you,
All right,
sir.
we'll continue with the Trump-Musk feud. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. News Talk 710 KNUS at 7 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Friday, June 6, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. I feel like we're in a soap opera as the world turns. The latest in Donald Trump and Elon Musk as their fight over you, the American taxpayer. We are taking phone calls today, text messages about the feud that broke out yesterday afternoon via X, via Truth Social between Donald Trump and Elon Musk, starting with the big, beautiful bill, and their disagreements over that quickly went into personal attacks over Elon Musk, angry about cuts that are coming to his business, and that's the real motivation for his anger. And then Elon Musk responding, saying Donald Trump would have never won the election if it wasn't for me. Plus, oh yeah, he's on the Epstein list.
Yeah.
So the richest man in America or richest man in the world and the most powerful man in the world going back and forth all over you. Does it make you feel special? Do you feel like these two men are warring over you, Bill?
No, not at all, because I don't think they care about me. This is a personal fight. It's really weird. This is one that just kind of erupted when I first saw it coming through social media. I thought it was an Onion article or something. I'm like, this ain't true. I mean, I figured there was going to be a blow up and a disillusion eventually just based on the personality profiles, but I didn't expect it to be this quick nor this public. And again, reminder that it was 1 week ago today. It was the Elon Musk appreciation party in the Oval Office, where we all sat around and told Elon how wonderful he is, including President Trump. And President Trump gave him a magic key that supposedly gives him access to the White House forever. Did you see that? And Trump's been selling that thing.
Right,
like, and I'm being selling like passing it off, for money. But he has been handing out keys, even during the Biden administration, handing out keys that he says gives you access to the White House in perpetuity, which is not a real thing.
It's a tour, apparently, maybe. You got to come at 8 a.m. and get in line.
You get a pass for the tour forever. It's like, come get the tour anytime you want.
It's like It's pretty much like when someone gives you coupons in a relationship for a gift.
Yes.
Like a free back rub.
Yes, free back rub, yes. Because they're like, I forgot to go shopping.
And you'll probably never use it.
Yes, exactly.
All right, well, let's go to the phone lines. Joan Lakewood. Good morning, Joan. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Hey, morning.
Good morning. I am calling in because I agree with Billy, which is not always something that happens.
Wow.
And
I'm going to write this on the calendar,
I honestly and sincerely believe this is a shoot. And because of that dramatic setup that you were talking about, when you set up a shoot, you have to have a pre-thing, and the pre-thing with the golden key. And how did you get that bruise, Elon? How did you get that bruise? An interesting, it's like, well, I was in a fight. I told my son to punch me. It was a big setup. And I honestly think that this happened at this point because the senators were going to do all sorts of amending and just rip this bill to shreds and send it back to the House. And Johnson worked so hard to get this through. I mean, seriously, the margins are just so tight. And I wish the Senate would just take a vote and don't do any amendments and just pass it the way it is right now.
So, Joan, you're thinking that this basically is a intentional heel turn by Elon so that he becomes the villain, and then all the Republican senators rally around their face, their good guy, the guy they wear the T-shirts, the guy they buy the hats for, their John Cena. They rally around Donald Trump and pass the bill. That's your theory?
That's what I'm hoping. I think the Epstein thing came up because I think there are probably some people that are compromised by some of this Epstein thing. I still am sitting here going, whatever happened to Ken Buck, I don't know what happened there. I don't know why it happened. And I think Lauren Boebert, she capitalized on that move. But somewhere, someplace, someone had some kind of conversation with Ken Buck, and I think this Epstein list is being waved in front of some of these senators that have been around for a while, and it's like, hello.
Well, Joan, I appreciate the call today, and she texted us earlier.
Yeah.
She's recovering from some medical issues.
No.
But I appreciate you taking time and energy
and Joan, I think,
to join us today.
I think you got something there, and I hadn't considered the idea that Elon is doing this to become the villain, to rally the troops, because now again you have to support, just like in professional wrestling. When the tag team breaks up and one guy turns on the other, you pick the face. And Donald Trump in this relationship is the face. Donald Trump is when Randy Macho Man Savage and Hulk Hogan broke up the Mega Powers, there became a heel and there became a face, and everyone continued to cheer for Hogan. He was the big face of the company, and that's what this is like, because Macho Man came in second, and that would be Elon Musk. So Elon Musk is the Macho Man. Oh yeah, brother. But then Hogan turns around and still is the face. I like how you're thinking there. Maybe something there. I appreciate that.
Well, I don't think that list exists, and I really think that most of Mega Nation was disappointed when they said Cash came out and said Epstein killed himself. I think that all of the people in went, nah, that's not true.
Well, Joan, we really appreciate the time today.
Weekend.
Thank you. Joan from Lakewood, her line will be open, 303-696-1971. We'll get to Ron next. Now it's time for the 7 a.m. moment of news and comment from Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Hey, good morning. TGIF 52 and cloudy in Denver, expecting a high of 67 today. The 7-10 5-day forecast is coming up. Our top story, doesn't matter what else is going on, always have to remember D-Day. Never forget, military operation began in 1944, World War II. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth is in France today to commemorate.
First you love me, then you
hate me. Today in D.C., the president's team has arranged a call this morning with Elon after a social media spat with DJT. Elon is upset over the BBB, maybe some other things, who knows. But then he went personal later and he talked about that Epstein list, the so-called Epstein list. 47 has always been on that thing, if it even exists. But right when 47 found out Epstein was a douchebag, he immediately kicked him out of his club in South Florida. Trump on Elon with the German chancellor next to him on Thursday.
Now, he worked hard, and he did a good job. And I'll be honest, I think he misses the place. I think he got out there, and all of a sudden, he wasn't in this beautiful Oval Office, and he's got nice offices, too. But there's something about this one. I was telling the chancellor, this is where it is. People come in here, even from Germany. They come in, and they walk into the Oval Office, and it's just a special place. It's, World War I, it started and it ended here, and World War II, and so many other things. Everything big comes right from this beautiful space. It's now much more beautiful than it was 6 months ago.
Yeah, maybe he just misses the Oval Office. That is funny. Charlie Kirk, friends with both, last night on the Fox News channel.
It's a tough thing to watch, this public feud. I actually think they're going to reconcile at some point, though, because deep down, I would like to believe they both want the same thing.
wake up to make up, that's all.
Wake up to make up. We'll see what happens today.
Blake, I want to bring this up, too, because I mentioned this about Vladimir Putin the other day, that Trump gives you a little bit of space, but you don't want to end up on Trump's bad list.
Well, that's true.
Right? Like, he came into his office going, look, we're going to figure out this peace deal, all that stuff. And then you saw the warning, right? Putin's playing with fire.
Yep.
And then you have the attack that comes from Ukraine onto Russia and the drone attacks and all that stuff. Same thing with Elon Musk. I think, Trump's the movement.
Yes.
While Musk may be the money right now, and really appreciate it, Trump's the movement. Trump will give you some space. You want to disagree, okay, all that stuff. But Elon Musk does not want to be on the wrong side of the president of the United States and the power he has to unload investigations.
He's still the president.
All that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
that's
Musk.
True.
You're playing a little bit here.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can play with.
God, I thought of so many things on Thursday watching this thing and listening to it. Now, I don't know about you. I know there are tons of people who voted for Trump because of Elon. Because I've talked to them. I mean, family members. I've heard that. And I got to be honest, I'm so weird probably. I had heard of Elon's name. I knew what he did, but up until 2 years ago, I didn't know what he looked like. I didn't know anything about him. I had no idea. I mean, Billy knew everything about him. It's just like Trump, though. I had never watched the TV show leading up to. I just knew he was a rich guy from New York. I never watched his TV show, but Elon, it's interesting the leverage there that you're talking about. I don't know if he wants to go any further down this road.
I agree. I
know?
agree.
And so I think we may see something today, or maybe we'll hear quiet for a while. I'm not sure. But it's very, very interesting. It really is. All right. Where am I? I have no idea. All right. The May employment report is out, and it beat expectations but didn't come close to the number of jobs created the month before. Last hour on True Social, DJT said prices are down, income is up, our border is closed, gasoline is cheap. Inflation is dead. Our country is booming. Companies are pouring into America like never before. 47 says the BBB has a record cut in expenses, $1.6 trillion, and the biggest tax cut ever given. The president said if this bill does not pass, there will be a 68% tax increase. So, I think that's pretty clear right there who you probably should support. All right, let's see. 45-year-old Islamo terrorist Mohammed Solomon, who tried to murder more than 10 people in Boulder, 15 injured, now faces more than 100 charges. Solomon is hit with 118 state charges, including 28 counts of attempted murder plus assault and even animal cruelty. Injured a dog. He's due in U.S. District Court in Denver today.
Did he injure a dog when he
Yes, he did.
threw that fire?
Yeah. Yes, he did.
Well, maybe that'll get progressives fired up about this.
That's what I was going to say. Maybe they'll open their eyes now.
Right.
They'll put that at the top. I mean, it's just they're kind of trapped here.
Jews
in a lot of cases.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Dogs?
Well,
how dare you?
Well, understand though, as long as it's not a Jewish dog, because that's what you're saying.
True.
Okay, I had to do that. I'm sorry, I had to. I had to go there. If you know me on the show, I had to go there.
I'll push it even further. What makes it a Jewish dog?
I'm not talking about surgery. I'm not talking about.
Oh man, that is a great question.
Yes,
that is the question of the morning, man. It's awesome. Make sure you have your pet spayed or neutered. Game 1, NBA Finals, 9 seconds to play. Indiana down by 1. They come down and they hit the shot. Pacers shock the Thunder, 111-110. Game 2, Stanley Cup Finals tonight in Edmonton. Rockies open a series with the Mets tonight at Coors, and they go for 4 straight wins. Incredible. 49 in Parker, 50 in Aurora, 52 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue. It is also National Donut Day. Don't forget about that. Bring the donuts to Jeff and Billy at the studio. They would appreciate it. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Cool, moist upslope flow will keep us unsettled, cool, and kind of soupy and wet through another day before we warm up over the weekend. Highs only 60s to near 70. Showers and some thunderstorms around early, then showers and thunderstorms likely this afternoon and evening. Watch out for a few strong thunderstorms. Highs only 65 to 70. Lows tonight upper 40s with showers ending. Warmer and sunny. Near 80 Saturday, 70s Sunday with late day thunderstorms. Weather sponsored by Colorado's Best Roofing, reminding you to protect your home from the harsh Colorado weather and schedule your free no-obligation roof inspection today at roofingcolorado.com. That's roofingcolorado.com. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
All right, lots to talk about. It's like living in a soap opera where you're the one they're fighting over. Donald Trump, Elon Musk, laying it down on X yesterday. It started, and Truth Social, it started with a debate over the big, beautiful bill that quickly spiraled into personal attacks. You couldn't have won this election without me. You're on the Epstein list. This is all about you just cutting government programs from Tesla and Elon Musk's corporations, all that being spit around on social media yesterday, when just a week ago it was a love affair in the Oval Office. With,
people are getting
it's not
keys.
Clinton oriented.
Yeah.
It was keys and thank you so much for all the great work, and you're both great American patriots. Yesterday, Lauren Boebert texted a meme from The Office of Michael just going, "Stop it! Stop it!"
Oh, that's good.
Just knock it off, you two.
That's fantastic.
We all love you. We're all part of... And this, in many ways, goes to... If you've been in the Republican Party in any capacity, you're like, oh, God, this is like the chairman's race. It's like we fight out in public. Democrats go... Keeping with the dog mantra, they take the dog out back and shoot it quietly.
Yeah.
In this, with Republicans, it's always a public battle. I mean, look at RMGO and George Brockler and that battle that emerged publicly. The chairmanship battle publicly. I mean, you can't be in the pro-life movement.
Yeah.
Because one side's yelling, you're not pro-life enough. They fight publicly. Everybody in the conservative movement fights publicly. This is just what we do.
I got a text message yesterday from a friend of mine who's in FM radio, and he said he couldn't figure out. We were kind of game planning. He's like, I got to mention this because he's doing afternoons. And he's like, I got to mention this Trump-Musk thing, but how do we do it? And so we talked about famous breakups. And so we were texting back and forth, and I just wanted to share. We were saying, yeah, it was I used Hulk Hogan and Macho Man, but I'd forgotten about this one. We were talking yesterday, and he goes, yeah, greatest breakup since Ariana Grande and Pete Davidson. Sophie Turner and Joe Jonas, Taylor Swift and Joe Alwyn. I mean, so we're going back and forth with these famous couples. And so, yeah, and we're like, okay, if you do that, you can get into the fact that this is happening. So, yeah, that's what we brainstormed that yesterday afternoon. So, yeah.
Well, feel free to join the conversation. Phone lines are open, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. Let's go to the phones. Ron Greeley. Good morning, Ron. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Morning, guys. Hey, I just want to say, yeah, boy.
Oh, yeah. You coming in to drop the big elbow? Yeah.
Hey, it really seems like Elon Musk is showing us what a big baby he can be when he doesn't get his way. It's the guy is fantastic. I mean, he's a genius. But when something obviously goes against his grain, he is so rich and powerful that he is able to have a fit like no other. We all have had instances that we have not liked, but your character is shown, your true character, when you have adversities, and his is, I'm shocked. I'm very disappointed as to the way he's acting, because he is such an icon. and the level of what's going on, the mysteries, the black eye.
But Ron, has there anybody though? And I'm a conservative. I don't know anybody that has ever been able to push this hard at government funding cuts anytime. I mean, you have Rand Paul, Thomas Massey, they're kind of one-offs. Now we have a guy with real leverage pushing to get the government cut down in its size to the way it needs to be and raising awareness about the problems of debt in ways that nobody else has been able to achieve. Can you give him credit for that?
Well, yeah, but I think it was you who said that earlier, just a few minutes ago, that there's not managers and stuff that he can boss around the way the Congress is, and there's so much red tape. Like you said, you come in with one sheet, and before you know it, you have 1,000. The politics is something that, I mean, my eyes are open to this. It's like, wow, you've got to be kidding me. This is really deep, to where you have Bongino and what's his name from the FBI? His name slips my mind right now.
Cash Patel, yeah.
Thank you, Cash. They said one thing going in, and now they're singing the same song as everybody else, which tells me there's power there that we can't even comprehend. And everybody just needs to watch what happens, whether we want it or not. There's powers there that, right? I mean, we just can't
maybe,
comprehend
Ron.
that.
The other part, though, is that there's part of it that maybe we consider that the leverage and or power of the deep state was more of a myth than a reality. Now, there are going to be elements behind the scenes that are going to function, but how effective and how powerful necessarily is that deep state? Because both Bongino and Cash Patel said the FBI are dirty, 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 and they're going to go, and now they're in there, and we are not seeing anything coming out saying the FBI is dirty, and that Bongino caught it the other day when he was talking about the idea that Epstein killed himself. Nope, seen the tapes, and that was a huge conspiracy theory. Bongino himself was questioning that back on his podcast. He's like, oh, come on, there's no way he possibly could have killed himself. He was questioning that, and now he's out there, singing the song.
Now, which I didn't stay up to speed on that very well.
Oh, that's okay.
I guess from what I've heard, that back in the day they said there's no tape, and now all of a sudden Bongino is saying we're reviewing the tape. And they're like, what tape? They said there was no tapes. Now you have tapes. So the double talk is pretty suspicious. Like I said, there's so many powerful people involved in this. We probably will never see the Epstein list. Whatever is on there. I don't think Trump is on there as far as a pedophile. That is because the Democrats would have used that a long time ago to keep him out. And so the things that are going on, it's so far beyond the normal person that I don't know. Is this why politicians stay in there so long?
It could be part of it.
Newcomers couldn't keep up.
Yeah, because you set up your own territory and the newcomer can't come in and unseat you, kind of a thing. I think that's why Mitch McConnell stood in there for so long. And now, got a question for you, Ron. Do you think there is a makeup on the horizon between Trump and Musk? Can they repair the relationship? And if they did, would you believe them? Would you still have some questions about Musk and his behavior and everything else, even if they make nice?
As far as Trump's side, yes, absolutely. There's always that because he's shown that from how people talk. I mean, it's business. As far as Elon goes, with the attitude that he just threw in, it's that one. I don't know. I mean, did he or did he not say impeach him yesterday? Is what I heard.
Yeah, at least he agreed. With it.
Agreed with the idea.
Somebody
of it.
saying it, and he does that a lot.
Yeah.
Come on. You know, that there, it's like you are so childish. Trump, he's I don't know how Elon became such a mega billionaire, and unless everybody just does what he says. But Trump has had the bumps. He's learned to get hit. He hits back, then he makes up. I mean, he has shown that. So as far as that side, yes, I would like to see them make up. I would like to see these as two brothers that got into a big fight, and they're not talking to each other right now, but they know their family, and they'll come back together. That's what I'm hoping.
I like that. Now,
Ron, I think you're right.
Yeah.
There's a really funny meme right now on X that's Trump and Musk calling each other, and it's going, "You hang up." No, you hang up. You hang up. They'll get back to.
That's good. Hey, Ron, I
appreciate
appreciate
a lover's spat.
Yes,
Right
Ron, I
on,
appreciate
brother.
the phone call, man. Now I got a question for you before you go. You made the Macho Man reference. A little bit of trivia. What WWE superstar that was moderately popular in the 1980s is the brother of Randy Macho Man Savage? And at the time, he went under the nickname or the moniker of the Genius for a little while.
Holy cow! The brother,
Yeah, he's his
man,
brother.
that is total trivia. I
Yeah.
have no clue.
It's Leaping Lenny Poffo. Lenny Poffo is Macho Man's younger brother. And he came out and he was the Genius. Yeah, and I'm sure you remember him standing in the middle of the ring with the cap and gown, talking about how he was smarter than everybody else. Yeah, that's Macho Man's younger brother. Yeah.
Right on, guys.
I know, man.
Have a good weekend.
Appreciate it.
I can't
Ron,
do long
great
division,
call.
but that's the stuff that sticks in my head. So it explains a lot about me. Thanks for the call, Ron.
Great call. Ron's line will be open 303-696-1971. Join the conversation about the lovers' spat between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Is this the end of the MAGA Musk alignment that had taken place?
The mega powers.
Or are they going to make it through? Would love to hear from you. Dwayne, you'll be up next. Let's talk Dan Caplis and Dan Caplis Law. I've known Dan well over a decade. Pro-life, pro-family, pro-faith, pro-America. That matters because who you choose to represent you in an injury case is going to send a message about you to everybody involved in the case, right? The insurance companies, the victims, all that stuff. And you hire somebody that you read go by on a bus billboard or something. You don't know who they are. You don't know what they stand for. Dan Caplis has a storied 40-year career in Colorado getting justice for people that are hurt in injury cases in motor vehicle crashes. In fact, Dan is believed to be the only lawyer in Colorado history to win 5 straight multi-million-dollar verdicts in Colorado crash cases. Dan is also believed to have won the largest truck crash verdict in Colorado state history. Dan Caplis Law is so trusted, he's the official law firm partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. Dan Caplis Law is a serious firm for serious cases. Dan accepts righteous injury cases on a percentage fee basis so that he can represent good people from all walks of life without regard to ability to pay. So if you need Dan's help, give him a call. Here's the phone number, 303-770-5551. 303-770-5551 or hit dancaplisLaw.com. That's Dan, CAPLIS Jason in Denver texted in. Trump hands out keys in the White House while Clinton handed out cigars. Oh, snap! It's Friday on the Jeff and Bill Show. All right, you're listening to Jeff and Bill.
Nice one. This is Denver's Talk Leader News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We're talking the Days of Our Lives spat that took place between Donald Trump and Elon Musk yesterday afternoon via X and Truth Social. Started out over a dispute over Big Beautiful Bill and then quickly went personal. But this is something I want to bring up that's a good question. What's going to happen to all the purple-haired libs that have been turning in their Teslas and lighting them on fire and driving around with bumper stickers? Are they today taking off the sticker that says, I'm not with Elon? How are the libs going to respond to this? Are they now in the Elon camp? Go, Elon!
That's a good question. I like where you're going with that one because what is the fallout? Do the people that have been mad at Elon and have been pushing away and not buying Teslas, Tesla's EV sales in Europe have been awful recently. In fact, I want to say in England, for the first time this month, BYD outsold, well, it's last month, BYD in May outsold Tesla for the first time ever as far as car registrations in England. They had more. Do they come back? Or is this something that, no, and that's what I find interesting is with Elon, and I like why you went there, he's already offended the libs. I'm not convinced they'll come back to him. And now he's offending MAGA. Who's left to buy the cars? He seems to have annoyed both sides of the aisle politically, and they all have to buy cars. Not all of them are going to buy EVs, but who's left to sell a Tesla to after this?
Hey, I got a car guy on the line.
Hey,
Let's
yes,
ask him. Dwayne Divine. Good morning, Dwayne. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Hey, morning, Dwayne.
Gentlemen, you knocked the rust off my situation. I was going to discuss this.
Oh, good. Yeah,
the libs have to come back now because look at Elon's cue. He's now positive again with the left for coming in and attacking Trump. So his value is already going up. And yeah, Teslas will start selling like crazy. And whether they're purple-haired or whatever color, I think it's going to be interesting. But I think a lot of this is being missed, beside the fact it's two incredible egos. Last week, he was given the key to Washington, D.C. Who the hell wants a key to Washington, D.C.?
Well, it's supposed to, in theory, it's supposed to let you into the White House forever, is the idea.
Yeah, but you got to get to D.C. first. I mean, Bill, that's like sitting there saying, I want to go to Manhattan, but you got to go through the Bronx first.
That is true.
Really?
That's a good point. That's a really good point. That is a really good point. Are you convinced, Dwayne, that you think the liberals will come back to Tesla? Because I'm unconvinced so far because I still think they view him as a heretic, that he's not necessarily out of the Trump influence or the MAGA world yet. I know they're going to cheer his, saying, especially the Epstein thing. They're going to eat that up like mother's milk. That's going to be a confirmation bias thing for them. And you're going to hear that from liberals for the next couple of years that, Elon said he was on the list. I don't believe it's true based on the information Elon has. But do you think that this is enough to bring back the liberals? And the follow-up question is, if Trump and Musk have a makeup session, do the liberals then hate him again, and does MAGA re-embrace him? What do you think the chances are?
Well, a couple of things on that. One, I really do believe because the left is far more emotional, and right now they're cheering Elon for tearing into Trump. And I believe that they're going to bring him back into the fold. He'll do his mea culpa, and he'll continue to sit there and kind of come back into a very weird spinning balance of some MAGA people are going to support him, and a lot of people on the left are going to support him. I like the guy. I don't care for what he said, but unless you've got evidence to back it up, all you're doing right now is just looking like the girl that you dated for 3 weeks, and she's screaming out the side of the club going, and you like to do that thing with the garden hose and the arc welder. So,
Hey, Dwayne, Elon Musk was threatening to create a third party.
Good luck.
Yeah, I mean, it smacks to me of like a Ross Perot type of thing.
Well, there's going to be that situation where he's got that. But the left will re-embrace Elon with no problem. If he gets back with Trump, I think it's going to be more on the lines probably next year going, we really worked on getting the bill, the Doge, and we really need to make this happen. And I think if we can bring in Paul and some of the other people and actually see some real cuts, the MAGA people are going to come to him as well. He's in a very unique position as a human being, and also being the fact that he has all these opportunities, that I think that he could sit there and straddle a barbed wire fence and sit there and do quite well.
Dwayne, Divide, great call. Sure, appreciate it. Dwayne's line will be open. Go ahead, please.
Don't forget, folks, the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb is coming up. And if people want to come down and watch it and everything else, they'll see me and my little boxer beast here. And as soon as that goes, I go to France.
Do you participate in that? You actually race up there?
Oh, God, yes. Yeah, I got hired in
tell
December.
people what this is.
That's
this is a
crazy.
fascinating race.
Yeah, it's an amazing race.
Okay. Well, I've been photographing and doing things for years. I have a few cars, and then I've done it myself. It's a race to the top of Pikes Peak. Zebulon Pike came here many years ago and said, I can't do it. It's not going to happen. And then people said, you know what? We can do it. And they built a road, and Mr. Palmer sat there and built the road. We had races. It's the second oldest race in the world. We have had many people come up and do many things. We are international in the people that come out and race. Companies spend millions of dollars to build things. Ford had an electric truck that came up and absolutely smoked the hill. We've had Peugeot come from France and absolutely destroy the record. It's now over 8 minutes to go from the bottom of the race beginnings all the way up to the top. And it's 146 turns, and 8 minutes of anything is kind of terrifying. You can go online and type in PPIHC, and you can see some of the wrecks, some of the races. There's always somebody with a 360 on their car. Ken Block, the gentleman who passed, unfortunately, a couple of years ago, he came up in his Mustang, and there's some video there of what he did coming around the item and all. But, yes, it's quite it's a one-time shot. And you start off at the bottom, and you get yourself on up there, and there are all the turns, and you'll see people on the side of the road. There's a lot of great viewing spots. It is the one time a year that they allow camping on the hill, so you can come up and camp. It's going to be kind of hard to get any camping spots at this time, but if you have any interest in what the engineering is and what's going forward, you will see some Teslas. We will see some extremely incredible vehicles. There is a fan fest. It's in Colorado Springs just a couple of days before the race and everything else, and there's some celebrities racing this year. I can't announce who they are because I haven't been given permission, but one of them is really easy on the eyes, Bill. Ooh. Really easy on the eyes. And she's been on a few Netflix movies and everything else.
She's selling her bathwater?
She's selling bathwater.
You know, I saw that and I thought to myself, those boys are genius.
Yeah.
You and I, we just drain the water. We look at the wife, hand her a towel and go, here you go, honey. And here she is. These guys are going, we're going to sell this and make a lot of money. Oh, yeah. I'm happy for her. I think it's great, but I don't know if it was City Sweden.
There have been a number of women before I met my wonderful wife that I had crushes on, and there were things growing up, and just sharing with the audience and yourself that never once have I said, I would love to have some of that bathwater. Never once had that ever crossed my mind. Never was I thinking that. I just, of all the things,
Bill,
that my little mind was imagining.
But that was before the internet. We're now in a place where women sell pictures of their feet and their flatulence. It's so weird. So bathwater feels like a step back in the direction of sanity.
That's funny.
Well, remember that scene in Dusk Till Dawn where young Salma Hayek is there and she pours the wine down her leg? I kind of like that. But anyway, I really kind of like that. But anyway, it's just one of those things that to each their own. And bathwater, it's got some soap in it. Maybe it'll clean out their mouth and make them a better person.
Yeah, some of them are going to eat the soap. You know that.
Now, here's a question, guys. This is a good question from Jason in Denver. So imagine if Elon starts a new party, like it was a sports league. He could pay top politicians to switch parties similar to Live Golf or NFL. And he could give them a $100 million signing bonus. All of a sudden, you do have a brand new political party. That's interesting.
Well, the only problem is it's already been done.
Yeah, they've already been bought by the other parties. But now we're in negotiations. But now we're in negotiations. And here's the thing. There's part of it that there's no way that would happen. But there's also a level of genius inside of that Elon came out and going, I'm telling you I'm buying these guys, and they're going to do what I need them to do, and they're going to do what you need us to do, and I'm buying them. At least I'm telling you. At least unlike the Democrats, the Republicans, if he marketed it that way and said, I'm doing this, we're cutting out special interest because I'm cutting the check here. I'm the only special interest. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make sure the party runs. If he went that way and said, you don't have to worry about these guys being beholden to lobbyists or anything else. They're going to be beholden to our party. If he sold it that way, you might have something.
Yeah.
You might have something.
Interesting. Well, speaking of cars, and we've got to run here, Dwayne,
Yeah,
but
thanks, Dwayne.
last thing real quick on cars, Channel 9's meteorologist just posted on X, okay, like 20 minutes ago. Get your cars in the garage.
Huh?
Get your cars in the garage. Get your cars in the garage. I mean, over and over and over again. Today, you got to get your car in the garage. Hail threat coming.
Yeah. Or if your car's messed up, just leave it outside and then claim the insurance. Just saying.
Well, 10,000 feet, we see hail. And, so that's not a problem. I just sit there and kind of go, well, it's old steel. It won't bend that much. And then you just put some dry ice and a little bit of water, and it usually pops the dents out. So I can usually get away with that. But that's me. Glass, however, glass is expensive these days.
Yeah, it is.
So,
Dwayne, the race this weekend up.
No, it's next weekend. We'll start having all the events. And it'll be on the Saturday there. I want to say the 20th. I've been so busy trying to get between two countries right now to do this because as soon as I leave, I get to go race for 24 hours as a engine assistant. So I'll be having a lot of fun.
Hey,
so yeah,
fun.
It's really. Oh yeah, well, for a man who's supposed to be retired with bad health issues, everybody thinks I can go do things. They saw that scar in my chest. It looks like an S. They're like, "Oh, you're Superman." It's like, no, I'm Super Doofus, and we'll just then do what we do.
Dwayne, always great to have you on. Thanks so much. Dwayne's line will be open 303-696-1971. Great idea coming in from Joan. She says, after you finish selling the T-shirts, which, by the way, today is the last day to get your Kyle's Karen's T-shirts.
Yep.
We should contract with Priscilla Ron, who does make soap, for Kyle's Karen soap.
Okay, but you're responsible for getting a hold of Kyle's soap and his bathwater. Just saying, you're responsible. I'm not. I've already got enough of a problem. So yes, no.
Now that's something we throw out to X. There we go. What does Kyle's Karen's soap smell like?
Oh yeah, what does it smell like? That's a good one. That is, so last
bitterness
day,
and regret. All right,
just a little bit of whiskey, just because.
He drinks. He is a beer drinker.
Yes.
All right, you're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader News Talk 710 KNUS.
Are they still around?
No, they're not. No. Yeah, there's 10,000 Maniacs. I was telling Jeff, love this band. Natalie Merchant, 10,000 Maniacs.
Oh, I thought that was on air. That's funny.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. I talk in Jeff's ear a lot.
Whisper sweet nothings.
I know. I'm like,
you think this relationship ends with the end of the show?
Yeah.
Our show has gone completely off the rails today.
Yes.
We're talking bath soap.
Yes.
And that somehow got into Kyle Clark.
Yes.
I got to give Jason props on this because it's killing me.
Jason came hard this morning. This was fantastic.
Oh, my gosh. If someone's tuning in for the first time, have no idea who we are. We're so weird.
We are.
So we created a T-shirt about Kyle Clark called Kyle's Karens. You can buy it. Today's the last day to get it.
Yeah, last day.
KylesKarens.com, KylesKarens.com to buy the T-shirt.
If you like Kyle, we have two. It's not just about saying, "Hey, Kyle, we got two flavors for you. We got a red T-shirt, we got a blue T-shirt, depending what you like. And if you like what Kyle does over at Channel 9 and his show Next, you can proudly support that you are a fan of his. We want to give you that option. This is not just about denigrating him at all. No, this is about support. Whichever flavor of news broadcast you like it with the feelings, get a Kyle's Karens T-shirt that you're a proud member of it. If not, if you like more of the facts inside the newscast and we don't want to have some sort of liberal agenda, then go right ahead and grab the red T-shirt, which is, again, professionally
designed
and printed.
By the way, I think we're still only at one blue shirt sold. Yeah. Plenty of red shirts sold.
Here's the thing is, I think I'm going to pull the trigger on the blue shirt today just because I want one of two. If there are only two that are printed, I want one of two.
And you and I need to plan it to where you wear your I'm a proud member of Kyle's Karens shirt, and I'll wear my I'm not a proud member.
If I pull the trigger on a blue, we'll wear them together one day just because the visual is going to be fantastic.
Then Joan texts in, you guys should make a soap about this. And then
look what you did, Joan.
And then Jason texts in,
this is so good.
Brandon, Kyle's caressing soap. The soap bar that always rubs you the wrong way.
It's so good. It's so good.
Somebody in Denver just spit out their coffee. They were laughing hard at that.
And Joan, we are blaming you for this because it's your
fault.
I'm
starting the blame with Joan, and now I've told Jason we're absolutely stealing this. Kyle's caressing soap.
That is wonderful.
The soap bar that always rubs you the wrong way.
Oh, that is fantastic.
So now what I need is Priscilla Ron to call in and let us know what essence and flavors and smells and scents you can bring into.
And I was actually thinking that
designing this.
I was thinking whiskey. It's probably not whiskey because I suggested
he's
that.
A beer
what
drinker.
do we do? Yeah, he's a beer drinker. But even then, again, this is about representing the Kyle's Karens type of an idea. And so what's representative there? I'm thinking Zima. I think that's what we need. I think that's the alcohol flavor we need. There's Zima. That seems exactly on brand there.
You got to bring in a sense of arrogance.
Yeah.
I don't know what smell arrogance is.
I don't know. I have no idea.
But remember, Trump sold a perfume, a cologne, but it was so expensive. We thought about buying it to see what it smells like.
Just because.
But it was so expensive that no way. Somebody did, though.
Yeah, I know. Someone did. Yeah, that's the idea of, what other scents could we mix in there? You could do things like fresh cut grass. It could be something like, the aroma of a, no, I can't do that. No, that would get me in trouble. No, I can't. Yeah, no, bad host.
Well, we're talking the fallout between Trump and Musk. Do you think it's going to continue on? I think they'll probably mend some fences today, but you'll never see them working as close ever again.
No.
But somebody brought up a good point. They brought this up from personal experience. It's important to remember that Elon Musk is autistic. I'm a mom of an autistic kid and can tell you that when they don't get their way, even about the smallest things, they don't always react like a neurotypical person. That's interesting. I've never heard that line. Neurotypical person. They can get really angry and can let the insults fly. True or not, they just react badly. Then they get over it just as quickly. You point out, Bill, to remember that this may be a self-diagnosis.
He doesn't there's no professional diagnosis of him being autistic or having Asperger's. It's a self-diagnosis, which I think is important in the conversation, but I'm not necessarily disputing it. I'm just saying that when he says, I'm autistic, he's decided that himself based on characteristics.
7248 responds, true, but he often shows some symptoms that a high-functioning autistic person has, and adults don't always get the diagnosis because, honestly, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of support for adults. Just a thought.
Yeah, there's a thing. There is a behavior that I have that fits on the autistic spectrum. I am not autistic, never been diagnosed, and I've asked professionals, but I do. There is a very particular behavior as far as how I consume information in media that is 110% autistic. It absolutely is, but does that make me autistic? No. Am I on the spectrum? No, I am not. Being honest about that, never been diagnosed. I've asked professionals about it because I felt a little weird sometimes, as obvious here. But yeah, I do have. There's a behavior that I have specifically.
When you get into music, you like go down this like wormhole.
That's the thing. It's the wormhole behavior.
Yeah,
it is the wormhole behavior that when I find something, I need to consume all of it. And so when I find a new band, I consume all of it. When I find a new topic, I consume all of it. Yeah, and I cannot stop myself until I find the bottom of the hole. And that's on the spectrum.
6728. Texted in, Kyle's soap should include the smell of condescension and secret self-loathing.
Oh my God, you guys are killing it today.
You guys are killing it on a Friday.
Oh, thank you
we're
so
having
much.
so much fun.
Yeah.
We'll continue. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
Can you believe they pay us for this? This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS. You guys rock.
Well, it's 8 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Friday, June 6, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned into the Jeff and Bill Show. News Talk 710 KNUS. The show completely off the rails, and it's already 8 a.m.
Yes, it
so you're definitely going to tune in for the next few hours because it's just going to get wilder.
Who knows what's going to happen?
It's all started with Bill in You Choose the News bringing up the fact
Always my fault.
Sydney Sweeney?
Sydney Sweeney.
Sydney
Yep.
Sweeney has a soap made out of partially of her bath
Yeah,
water.
and she's going with Dr. Squatch, like a full, like, reel on. Yeah, she's not with,
they're really funny advertisers.
Yes, yeah, and so she's hooked up with them because...
And it's $8 a bar.
And I will point out that I was not the one that Googled that.
Well, I wanted to see, like, what... Yeah. now I feel like I'm backed into the corner,
Yes,
what is Jeff really looking at? So I'm wondering, like, did they make a limited time run of this? And yes, they are, but they're only selling it for $8.
Yeah,
so you got to have a lot of it.
Yes.
Because if it's that low, it's not like Trump's perfume. I think that was like over $150.
Yeah.
This is bathwater soap. Bathwater infused soap.
Yeah, how many baths does she take?
How and does she jump into a giant? She jump into a big pool,
Yeah, exactly.
and then they drain the water and called it bathwater. Then let me take you on the journey where we are.
Yes,
Then
it's a
we're
journey.
reminding people that today's the last day to buy your Kyle Clark Cairns T-shirt.
Yes,
Called
Kyle's Cairns.
KylesCairns.com, KylesCairns.com.
Yep,
last day to get your shirt
Last day to get the shirt.
about him. And then Joan, and we're blaming Joan for this. She goes, well, blend it. We need to do next a Kyle Clark soap. And your text messages are hilarious. What is the smell of a sport coat? We need to make sure we add skunk in there. I don't know why. What was the other one? Yeah, we're going to call it Kyle's Caressing Soap, the soap bar that always rubs you the wrong way.
So good.
Then there was another one about the smell of condescension and secret self-loathing. So then somebody reminds us, well, Priscilla Ron makes soap,
Yes.
so we need to talk with her. And Bill and I are like, yeah, okay, we'll talk.
Okay. Yeah.
Lo and behold, guess who calls into the show?
Guess who calls?
The
It's Priscilla
former
Ron.
vice chair of the Colorado Republican Party and homemade soap maker, Priscilla Ron, is
Yes.
on with the Jeff and Bill Show. Priscilla, this just makes it wonderful. Thank you so much for calling in
Yes,
and
thank
walking
you.
into this total disaster of
Yeah,
a
so the
radio
real
show this
question
morning.
here is how much of Jeff's bath water do we need to make our own soap? I think that's the real question here.
Good morning. I would just need 2 gallons
Okay, good.
of it's simple.
I
You guys are
didn't want
cracking
it.
up.
Not
You know,
my
I
bath. Oh gosh, so I take the approach to baths like Jerry Seinfeld did, where he's like, I don't want to sit in my own filth. But all right, so Priscilla, if we wanted to make a line of Kyle Clark inspired soap bars with you, could we do that?
Of course, you could.
Really?
You know, because I like the candles.
You say so.
I brought you. Didn't I make you your own I think I made you guys your own candles.
you
Or
did.
at least I
Yes.
did with. Yeah. So we could do that.
Oh my gosh, dude!
Okay,
if
we
you
gotta
could
think about
imagine where
this.
my career, where I thought my career would go,
Oh, yeah.
to the point where we're now hawking
Yeah.
Kyle Clark infused and inspired.
The
So
thing for me
just off the
Jeff,
top of your
Jeff
head,
is like, this is going downhill. Where I'm like, I'm on an upward trajectory. This is much better than what I was thinking my career is going to be.
what are you selling today, Jeff? Kyle Clark inspired. So, what is just off the top of your head? And this isn't a promise. We're no means this is a promise that we're delivering this.
Just a brainstorm.
But if you, well, first of all, tell us how a soap's made, and then I want you to be thinking too what you would add to the soap to make it a Kyle Clark inspired soap. Because I don't think we're getting his bathwater.
Okay, so how you make soap? I make it cold press. So you have to find your fat, a really good fat, and then your lye, and then you combine those two things. And lye is very dangerous. It's very caustic. You have to be very careful with it. And you combine the two, and then you let the soap cure for about a month before you use it, because you need that lye to infuse with the fat. And by fat, I mean like shea butter, olive oil, those types of things. Mm-hmm.
And what typical scents do you sell? Yeah. What do people typically buy when it comes to soap?
People love lavender. They love tea tree. I have a leather soap. I have a line for guys, like where it's sandalwood, but I make a lot of different scents because people are very particular. Some people like floral scents. Some people like a very clean soap. And some guys like manly, leather inspired, and tonka and oud and tobacco and vanilla, those kinds of
Now,
scents.
I'm curious that in your soap manufacturing time, have you ever done custom orders that people have requested? Just asking for a friend in case we have an idea. Ever done custom orders?
I have done custom orders.
Idea.
So if you were going to make a soap inspired by Kyle Clark, right? And we've got I want to get some ideas. People text in. We'll get some on X as well. But what do you think would be a Kyle Clark inspired bath soap?
I don't know. If we're being humorous, maybe a citronella because it repels bugs and mosquitoes.
I like that. Oh, that's good.
But knowing what I know about Kyle, I know he's a Colorado guy. Maybe we could use some animal fat for the fat, and then we could use something that's a very outdoorsy, woodsy, maybe a fir, a tree that represents Colorado.
That's
with
good.
A little oak. I don't know. We could
because you want it to smell good, right? You're not going to buy soap that smells terrible just for a laugh. You want soap that's actually going to smell good. Dude, the fact that we're coming up with I just can't imagine what he's dealing with today, right? Like we've been hawking these T-shirts called Kyle's Karens that kyleskarens.com that you can buy, and it looks like a sport coat and all this stuff. And now these guys are selling soap inspired by me. This is when the cease and desist is going to.
Oh, yes. This is when it'll happen.
All right. Well,
idea.
Priscilla, Ron, if someone wanted to buy your soap that you make now, how would they do so?
Yes, you can go to Etsy. It's I have an Etsy shop. It's Rodell Organics. I'll spell that for you. It's RHODELL Organics. Plural, okay? That's my line.
I bet there's no way Priscilla thought she was going to be doing this today. Promoting her soap in light of a conversation about Kyle Clark inspired soap.
Rodell Organics.
But you never know what the Lord's going to open up. By the way, Bill, at this website about Sydney's bathwater bliss, it actually opens up for sale in 1 hour and 51 minutes.
Oh,
it goes on sale today. This weird bathwater. I don't know.
The thing is, they wanted to do it after.
So gross to me.
They were worried about competing with Kyle's Karen's T-shirts. They didn't want.
Yeah, they wanted to wait
for
the
last day. They wanted to wait.
Gosh, bathwater infused.
And Adam in the video room pointed out they're going to only make 5,000 of Sydney's bathwater bliss soaps.
All right, so how many? Priscilla can answer this question for us. If you were going to make 5,000 bars of soap, how much bathwater would you need?
Oh my goodness!
Can we do math quickly? I don't know. Can you ballpark it?
5,000 bars. Yeah, you'd probably need. I don't know. I have no idea.
Right. This goes back to my point. She must have jumped into a pool or something. There's no way they're collecting this much bathwater.
100 gallons of bathwater to make her. I don't know.
Wow.
I would have to do the math calculation on that to figure out. I can't do it that fast, is what I'm saying. I'm fast at math, but it doesn't mean it's correct. I can give you an answer, but it won't be correct.
Oh, I'm very good at that. Time tests in school were my bane of my existence. I can give you numbers. They're not going to be right, but I can do it quickly.
Dude, the text messages are pouring in on this one. Kyle
you guys
Clark,
have to let me.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry. And I was going to say, if you're serious about me doing some math calculation, I can send it to you later.
All right, do it.
So.
Well, we got 2 more hours of total.
Yeah, let's look at this
frivolity on the show.
I like the idea. Now, if perhaps maybe Denver radio morning show wanted to make some soap that may make fun of another broadcaster here in town, would that be something you might be interested in? I'm just asking for a friend.
It's all about the Benjamins.
I love you. That's exactly my answer too. Yes, it's the money green. It does say USA on it. If so, I'm in.
All right, people are texting in 8556. Oh my goodness, you guys are so ridiculously funny this morning. Thank you for entertaining me and keeping me awake on my drive.
Oh, thanks.
0459. Kyle Clark's soap smelled like feet and is full of lye.
Oh, there we go. That's
you get
full
it?
of lie.
You get it there?
That is fantastic.
There we go.
Oh, that's how we have to market this. The idea of this custom lie that is there for Kyle, and we did it specifically for, we got something here.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be good. And I love the fact that Priscilla said that she had to start off with the good fat, because that's what my wife says I am. I'm good fat. Not that I'm in shape, not that I'm healthy. She says I'm good fat.
Go support Priscilla Ron, Etsy, Rodell Organics, right? Rodell Organics. Yep. Spell it one more time.
RHODELL. RHODELL.
Organics. And you can actually get quality soap, not Sydney Sweeney's weird bathwater soap.
Yes.
And we'll work with Priscilla on potentially the release of a Kyle Clark-inspired soap for Colorado.
This will be great.
All right, y'all.
Priscilla, you are the best. Have a great weekend.
Priscilla, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right, let's go check in with actual news and comment. Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
TGIF, good morning. Hope you're smelling good. It's cloudy outside, partly cloudy in Denver. Expecting a high of 67 today. The 710 5-day forecast is coming up. Our top story, always have to remember D-Day. Never forget, military operation began in 1944, World War II. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth in France today, and he actually led a workout on Omaha Beach with some troops, and then the ceremony.
So we just finished a ceremony here at the Arlington Cemetery where over 9,000 Americans are buried. And there were about 25 World War II vets still there, still here. And I had a chance to meet every single one of them after the ceremony. And they all said we'd do it again. We did it for freedom. We did it for our brothers. We did it for our hometown, for those that we loved, and for those that are still here in the cemetery.
And in D.C., 47 will be taking part in a swearing-in ceremony for the Navy Secretary today. Transgender members of the military face a deadline today. Leave voluntarily or risk being discharged under the Trump administration's reinstated ban. Reserve members have until tomorrow. The policy was upheld by the Supreme Court. The president's team has arranged a call this morning with Elon after the social media spat with DJT on Thursday. Elon is upset over the big, beautiful bill and spending, allegedly.
He's worn the hat. Trump was right about everything. And I am right about the great, big, beautiful bill. We call it a great, big, beautiful bill because that's what it is. And again, biggest tax cuts in history, biggest economic development moves anywhere. We've never done anything like it. Business is spurred. And I don't know if you've seen the numbers, but the numbers came out. Even the CBO, which is run by Democrats.
This morning on Truth Social, DJT said prices are down, income is up, our border is closed, gasoline is cheap, inflation is dead, our country is booming. Companies are pouring into America like never before. 47 also says the BBB has a record cut in expenses, $1.6 trillion, and the biggest tax cut ever given. And there will be a 68% tax increase if it does not pass. Colorado's Lauren Boebert wants Karine Jean-Pierre to be subpoenaed and forced to testify over her role in covering up Sniffin' Joe's cognitive collapse. Yes.
This is huge. I want Karine Jean-Pierre to come in before oversight and answer to the lies that she told from the White House podium as press secretary about Joe's cognitive function or cognitive decline, and explain her lies to the American people. I want her to come in before her book is released. I don't want her book to have cover for her or Democrats to be able to pick that apart. She needs to come in and answer before Congress why she lied for years to the American people.
Agree on Benny Johnson on Thursday.
What I will say is the charges reflect the evidence that we have regarding this horrific attack that took place and the seriousness of it.
Boulder County DA Michael Doherty, 45-year-old Islamo terrorist Mohammed Solomon, who tried to murder more than 10 people, 15 were injured in the end in Boulder, now faces more than 100 charges. He's due in U.S. District Court in Denver later today. Boulder County DA Michael Doherty once again.
Although this prosecution is going to be laser focused on the defendant and the responsibility that we have, I encourage all of us to continue to lift up the victims.
Agree with that one. Game 1, NBA Finals, 9 seconds to play. Indiana down by 1.
The Pacers with a chance to win it. Final seconds, no fouls to give. Halliburton looking. Halliburton driving, pulls off, jump shot. It's good! It's good! With 0.3 of a second remaining. Timeout, OKC. Tyrese Halliburton does it again!
And the Pacers shocked the Thunder on their home court. The Thunder's home court, 111-110. Game 2, NHL Stanley Cup Finals tonight in Edmonton. With Edmonton leading that one 1-0 so far. They won Game 1. Rockies open a series with the Mets tonight. At Coors, they go for 4 straight wins. 53 in Superior. 54 in Centennial, 56 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue on National Donut Day.
Time to make the donut. The donut. It isn't easy.
Blake Olson, News Talk, 710. Yum, yum, yum. KNUS.
Cool, moist upslope flow will keep us unsettled, cool, and kind of soupy and wet through another day before we warm up over the weekend. Highs only 60s to near 70. Showers and some thunderstorms around early, then showers and thunderstorms likely this afternoon and evening. Watch out for a few strong thunderstorms. Highs only 65 to 70. Lows tonight upper 40s with showers ending. Warmer and sunny. Near 80 Saturday, 70s Sunday with late day thunderstorms. Weather sponsored by Colorado's Best Roofing, reminding you to protect your home from the harsh Colorado weather and schedule your free no-obligation roof inspection today at roofingcolorado.com. That's roofingcolorado.com. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
All right, on my X account, I've posted our Kyle's Cairns t-shirts were a smashing success. Last day to get them at kylescairns.com. People are asking us to do a Kyle Clark-inspired soap. What should it smell like?
Yes, what should it smell like?
You can go to my X account, x.com. /Jeff.
We need to know. This is a great idea. We gotta do
my
this.
gosh. Yeah, Joan and Lakewood, hilarious idea. Kyle Clark-inspired soap. Well, I'm going to pivot here because I saw this headline and I just went, oh, no. Because this means a number of different things. Here's the headline from Westward. Denver dog owners are sending their pets to the pound in record numbers. These are surrenders. So they can't care for their pets, their dogs, and they're taking them to animal shelters. It's up 237% from 2019. And what this tells me is we have a real serious economic issue. Because this is one of the first areas to go if you can't pay your bills, right? Feeding your dogs, taking care of them, your pets, you love them, they're part of the family. But if it comes down to me feeding my kids or me feeding my dogs, well, I'm going to prioritize my kids. And so this is a bigger indicator of a decline that's happening in our economy here in Colorado. More bad news. I thought to myself, who knows dogs better than anybody else? I mean, we raise working dogs. They work on ranches throughout the western United States. But she literally built an entire industry around caring for dogs, providing quality service to them. And that's Heidi Ganal. She posted this article originally. That's where I saw it. She joins us now on the Jeff and Bill Show. Good morning, Heidi. Thanks for joining the program.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, guys. What an entertaining topic this morning. And I'm so excited it's National Donut Day. I'm like a donut connoisseur. I love them.
Someone just texted me saying we should call them Clark bars.
That's fantastic.
That is funny.
That is really good. They should be Clark bars.
Oh, it's so crazy. Well, we're off the rails today, but Heidi, with some actual good analysis of what's going on, you see this headline. You know the pet care industry, people surrendering their pets to animal shelters in record numbers. What are your thoughts?
Well, you guys, in typical fashion, Colorado is leading the way in a bad number. Denver now ranks 5th nationally in shelter euthanasia rates. In 2024, just alone, 6,000 animals were euthanized in shelters in Denver. And this doesn't have to happen here. It's a crazy storm of bad policy and some shenanigans by some bad actors that run nonprofits that claim to be doing good things for dogs. And to your point, Jeff, it's a really tough time economically. Somebody pointed out to me that vet bills have gotten outrageous. Like when you take your dog to the vet now, they want to do all kinds of stuff because I think the vets are struggling too. So it's just this perfect storm right now.
That's Heidi Ganal, you know her from Rocky Mountain Voice, formerly the founder, CEO of a dog care company, Camp Bow Wow, the name of that company. Well, let's talk about some of the policies. I remember on the ballot initiatives last year, there was the effort to kind of expand vet care to people that hadn't necessarily gone through the entire veterinarian doctoral process. Do you think that's a good idea? Could this alleviate some of the problems with costs associated with caring for your pets?
Well, funny enough, Jeff, I was a co-sponsor or a promoter of that bill with Jared Polis. It's one of the only things we've ever agreed on, that rural Colorado desperately needs more vet care professionals. And so it's like a physician's assistant for vets. And I think it's a great idea. And I think it's one of the best solutions for helping rural Colorado with their lack of veterinary care. But, you know, overall, people love their animals, and it's heartbreaking for someone to have to give up the dog. And for the most part, there's some bad actors out there too. But there's some simple mistakes Coloradans are making that could help fix the problem. One of those is making sure that you adopt, when you adopt a pet, from a reputable place or provider or rescue organization. Lynn Gerber is a dear friend of mine. She runs an amazing organization called Good Dog, Good Life, and she has Positive Pathways. She rescues dogs like crazy, and the worst of the worst, the ones that nobody wants, out in rural Colorado. And here's what she has to say. When you go to adopt a dog, make sure that, first of all, you're supporting animals that are in Colorado. A lot of these nonprofits are bringing in puppies and animals from out of state because it is such a dog-friendly place, and they're charging exorbitant fees for adoptions. That's a red flag. If it's a $500, $700, $1,000 adoption fee, that's a money-making scam. And they can make you feel like you're doing a great thing for that puppy or that dog, and the puppy doesn't know any better, but we've got to stop feeding that beast. The other thing is making sure that you put all your energy into the dog's behavior, because one of the biggest reasons people return pets is because they're being naughty and they just haven't invested the time and effort into curing behavioral issues. So that's another big one.
You're exactly right about that. We train working dogs that are guardian livestock dogs. So they guard goats and chickens, and they work ranches throughout the western United States. So we're very familiar with the idea of you just got to spend time with these dogs. But the other thing that this article points out is that there are some solutions for like night drop-offs, right? So if you're working and you need help, there are particular shelters that will watch the dogs for you for a little bit of time so you can go to your work, or if you need them overnight somewhere because you're working a night shift, something like that. These kennels seem to want to try to work with families so it's not a complete abandonment. Is that right?
That is right. And that's actually why I started Camp Bow Wow so many years ago, back in 2000, because I was a young working professional, and I was like, I don't know what to do with my dogs during the day. And so I saw this trend, this new thing called doggy daycare pop up in some of the cities. And I thought, that is such a cool thing. So we built the business around that need. But my favorite thing about building Camp Bow Wow, which is one of the largest pet care franchises in the world now, is that we built a foundation alongside it called the Bow Wow Buddies Foundation. And we were able to work with our franchisees to rehome over 10,000 dogs over 10 years. And the way I think the best way to solve this problem, the overpopulation issue, is one, focus on spay and neuter. Everybody's got to make sure their dogs are spayed and neuter. And if you want to help in the rescue space, that's a great way to help. There's lots of rescues doing that work, including Lynn Gerber's organization, especially in rural Colorado, where there's reservations in different areas where the dogs are not spayed and neutered. That's number one. Number two, make sure you adopt from a reputable source. Lynn's a great source to help with that. Good Dog, Good Life. It's on Facebook. She's got like 60,000 followers. And then also make sure that you're ready to do the work on the behavioral side, like we just talked about. And there's lots of organizations that can help on that front at little or no cost as well. So behavioral issues, making sure you adopt from a good, reputable source, and making sure that all animals that need to be spayed and neutered are in Colorado.
And they're
help tremendously.
On that point about spay and neutering, it's oftentimes pretty cheap, if not sometimes totally free. And Pay to Spay program uses private donations to spay and neuter pit bulls for free, for instance, and even give owners $100 grocery gift cards as an incentivization to participate. We end up with cats that show up at our place, and so some random cats that have come to our place, but they work well on our ranch because they're little mousers. I often say you can if you own a ranch, you're either going to have mice or you're going to have cats. So you got to pick one or the other. And so we've gotten to know the cat spay program and neuter program, and hat tip to my wife, who's going to one today with one of the cats that showed up on our property. And you can get it done at a cheap discount, if not free. So that's important to remember before. I want to talk about, I think this is an indicator of a growing economic problem in the state of Colorado. I was talking to a lawmaker yesterday. We had lunch, and he worked in property management. And you would say there's oftentimes an indicator. People aren't going to go out and say, oh, we're having financial problems. But if they stop watering the lawns, for instance, that's telling me that, well, they're not paying their water bills, or they want to cut down on their water bills. And so it becomes an indicator of a deeper problem. When I read this headline, I went, like my stomach sank, because people love their dogs. They're part of their families. And if they're giving them up, it's because they've reached the end of a line where they're now having to prioritize, for instance, food for their kids over food for their pets. That's a bad sign that the state is in. Your thoughts?
I totally agree. And what we've got to do is get to people before they get to that point and provide support and services. And one of those things you can do is donate dog food to your local dog shelter. I know Dumb Friends League and Denver Animal Shelter and all the rural shelters need blankets, they need food, they need, whatever donations you can provide, and of course money. The rural shelters are really getting hit hard. The bigger ones in Denver have a lot of resources, a lot of money, but the ones out in, La Junta and Craig, Colorado, and around the state, they desperately need help and support. And that's where a lot of the economic pain is coming too. So definitely, if you want to help, call your local rescue or shelter in your local community or one of the rural communities and ask what you can do to help.
Now, that's Heidi Ganal from Rocky Mountain Voice talking with Jeff and Bill about the enormous increase of dogs that have been surrendered at local shelters. It's absolutely incredible, up 237% from 2019. Heidi, with your experience, I want to give you the opportunity. Let's just imagine that there is someone in our audience that is getting to that point that Jeff talks about, that they're worried about, can they provide for their pet and the family at the same time? And while they hate to admit it, they're entertaining the thought of surrendering that best friend. What advice would you give them? What would you tell someone that came to you and said, I'm not sure that we can continue to have the dog in our house at this time? What would you tell them?
Well, first of all, I tell them to reach out to their local rescue or shelter, like Dumb Friends League in Denver or the rural shelters, and tell them what's going on, and they will connect them to lots of resources and people who can help. The other thing is go to Lynn's Facebook page, Good Dog, Good Life. There's 62,000 followers that are dog lovers that want to help and support people in this exact situation. So definitely go there and ask for help and support. And if you're in a neighborhood that you know people are struggling, ask the local rescue or shelter if you can host like a donation drive or just raise awareness or put flyers around, something to get people the resources they need, and try and nip that in the bud before they have to give up the dog.
And don't pull a Christy no.
Oh, no.
Nice job.
It was one of my favorites till that happened. I was like, oh, Christy, how can I support
Well,
you?
and while I disagree with what she did as a dog owner, because, look, dogs kill chickens. It's part I've had to deal with this. It's part of their instinct, and you have to kind of train it out of them. I am kind of like, the lady that killed the dog and the goat, you put in charge of DHS. So that's maybe not such a bad idea, right? She's pretty tough. But all that said, don't shoot the dog, and don't do what that guy did in Florida, where you just drive down a road and tie it up and leave it in the middle of the storm. You remember that?
That was heartbreaking. And, Jeff, we saw the craziest stuff over those years with Camp Bow Wow and all the rescue work we did. We had people drop off rescue dogs at Camp Bow Wow all the time. And, we've got 150 healthy dogs playing. We have to be really careful about bringing a dog that we don't know if it's vaccinated, if it's got, any problems or issues. So people are desperate when they do that. Most of them. There's some bad actors who, don't deserve dogs at all. And they should be, shunned and locked away forever. But the ones that do need help and support, it's got to be a neighborhood, community-based effort, and you've got to get them before it gets to that point. And again, if you notice anything or know of anyone that's having trouble, feel free to reach out to me, too. I have so many connections and resources. Just email me at Heidi@RockyMountainVoice.com, and I'm happy to connect you and help you.
She's absolutely the best. I saw this headline from Westward. Denver dog owners are sending their pets to the pound in record numbers as drop-offs at Denver animal shelters are up 237%. This is complicated. It has to do with the economy. It has to do with priorities, all that. But Heidi Ganal joining us to provide solutions to help those pet owners out there. Check out RockyMountainVoice.com, RockyMountainVoice.com. That's where she's doing all her great news work. You can email her at Heidi@RockyMountainVoice.com. Heidi, you're a real treasure. Thank you for taking time to join the Jeff and Bill Show.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, you guys. Have a great day, and eat a donut for me.
There you go.
I will. And I heard, Ty, if you eat somebody else's donuts, that's their calories. They don't count. So it's free calories. Just saying. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Heidi. All right,
Thank you.
we'll continue. Phone lines are open. Give us a call, 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Man, that segment has gotten a lot of text messages coming in. People saying, will you post the clinics for the free spay and neuters? I will. Breadman texting that out. I'll put it on my X account, x.com/Jeff Hunt. I'll figure it out. My wife's actually taking a cat today to get spayed, and she's driving up to the Denver Dumb Friends League near the National Western Stock Show complex. Yeah. And I think they're doing it at a reduced discount. We found people, we end up with cats. Like I said, we've had lots of cats. I have 50 animals on my ranch.
I know.
So I was telling Bill, we have animals everywhere. I have chicks that are living in our laundry room because we just got them. They came in, and we have that'll make our flock of chickens about 30. And then I have kittens in the garage. And nobody can park in the garage because the kittens will climb up into the cars, and then you drive away and they fall out and they get squished. That's a terrible thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then we've got Colorado mountain dogs and horses and goats and all this stuff. So it's just it's a zoo.
Yes.
At our house.
Yeah. See, you have way more animals than I
so
do.
we know all the little details of like how you can get animals spayed and neutered at a
and there's some like
cost effective.
And sometimes our traffic maven Susan that you hear doing traffic for us, sometimes she works with Forgotten Felines Rescue here in town, and they go and they find the feral cats, and then they socialize them and get them spayed or neutered, and then they're up for adoption. And we have 2 of the kittens that were found. In fact, in the parking lot of Rangeview High School is where they found this litter. And so we have 2 of the litter mates at home, and they're fantastic. And I've known Susan for years, been over their house, and I remember interacting with a couple of older adult feral cats. And it's interesting, there's downstairs in her house, and there's an area that has baby gates and a lot of times has, self-contained enclosures. And the cats are there, and they're trying to get used to the idea of people being around them, but not being a threat. And so you kind of come over and you hang out near the baby gate and you say hi to the cat, but approach the cat, and you just see that having a human around you isn't necessarily a threat, and there's this long process they go through to then make them okay for adoption. And they've got a bunch that are up for adoption as well. But yeah, they all spay and neuter them beforehand. But this is a really scary thing.
Yeah, the headline coming from westward: Denver dog owners are sending their pets to pounds in record numbers. Dog surrenders at the Denver Animal Shelter are up 237%. Well, I care about the animals, of course, right?
Yes.
And I was telling Bill, because I know this history, I started a whole consulting firm after this guy, but William Wilberforce was the founder of the Royal Society of the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. He was a Christian. He's the guy that led the efforts in Parliament in England to end the slave trade. So similar to my worldview, taking his faith into the public square to try to shape laws. But back then, there were no humane societies or anything like that. I think it's gone a little bit extreme on this side where people provide, like, they think of animals as humans. They're not. Yeah. But back then, Oh no, they were just discardable property, and so you would, there was called bull baiting in England, where they would tie a bull to chain him to the middle of the town square, and then they actually created this breed called bulldogs. This is where bulldogs come from, that would attack the bull, and you would bet on which dog could kill the bull. So it's just open air animal fighting.
Yeah,
and Christians believed that how we treated animals then it was aligned to how we treated each other. So if you want to lower violence, for instance, and you see this in more violent communities where there's like cockfighting or dog fighting taking place.
And the really interesting thing is, at the time, they didn't know, but that has been proven out psychologically, that individuals that are willing to take out their violence and their anger on animals will eventually try to do it to a human. So even though they didn't have the science at the time, they were 110% correct about the connection.
And so if you go back upstream and you start treating animals better, well, then you'll get people that treat each other better.
Yes.
But so while I care about the treatment of animals, and there's a great history of Christian concern for animals' well-being, what got me on this, though, is I think it's an indicator of larger financial stress on people.
Yeah,
that,
I would agree.
Like, people don't go out and go, I'm broke. Like in The Office, where Michael declares bankruptcy by yelling it, right?
Yes.
So what actually happens is you look at indicators. Another one is the amount of credit card debt. We're reaching record credit card debt in this country, and then people are dropping off their animals. That is a big indicator that there's serious financial problems. Because if you think about how much people love their pets,
here's a weird
and
thing.
they're at a point now where they're letting them go. That in my mind is, I'm at a point where I've got to choose between feeding my animals and my kids.
Yeah.
And that's how dire our financial situation is.
It is. And I think you're 110% right. And that's why we're talking about it today, this rapid increase in people, giving up their dogs at local shelters. In the Westward article, it's up 237% from 2019. That's significant. And I believe that Jeff has hit upon the idea that, yes, this is an economic indicator, that there are a lot of families in Colorado struggling. Everyone that listens regularly to the show knows that I keep snakes and reptiles, things. And I belong to a couple of national and local reptile groups. There's one that the surrenders or rehomes for snakes and lizards has dramatically increased just in the past 2.5 months. There is a significant increase in one group that I belong to, and it's all Colorado reptile owners. But I want to say that if you're on post on that page, 1 out of every 3 is about someone having to rehome their pet, and it's always because of economics and a financial situation that they have to move. They're having to move for a job, and they can't take them with them because they can't afford a place that would allow them to have pets, or reptiles at least, or the place that they live has been sold. So landlord is now selling the place and they have to move out, or finances has changed and they've got to downsize into a smaller place to live, a smaller apartment, a smaller condo. And so they don't have the room right now. There's a guy who's out in the eastern part of Colorado who's trying to rehome, I think it's 6 reticulated pythons. Those are big snakes. I mean, that's an 8-foot enclosure for each and every one of those. And he's got a ton of them because finances have changed and he can't live where he lives right now, can't afford to stay in a house. And so he can't keep his snakes. So he's having to rehome them. But I'm saying that, yeah, this is universal. The reason I bring it up is because it's not just dog and cat owners. It's universal. And when we're seeing a surrender on everything from dogs, cats, to even the creepy reptiles that I like, something's going on. This is an economic indicator. And yeah, we should be worried.
And the message out there to all of our listeners, there's areas to help you. That was great about Heidi, right? So you don't have to drop off your dog entirely and abandon it entirely. You can find shelters that'll watch them for a little bit, help you out a little bit, maybe some night shelters, those types of things.
Yep.
There's also free spay and neutering. We'll put those links on my X account, x.com/Jeff Hunt.
And she said, check out Good Dog, Good Life.
And then the other thing to know, you're not alone in your financial challenges.
Yes, you're not.
I think that's really important for people to understand. A lot of people are going through this right now. Find solutions, work at it, but gosh, this is a gut punch because I care about people, and I think this is a big indicator that there's a bigger problem out there.
And understand you're not alone. There are a lot of people out there struggling as well, and there's help for you.
All right, let's talk L&L heating and air conditioning. We had problems with our AC and heater last summer. AC went out, the whole line froze. This was builder grade stuff that had been put in originally. I think we're the third owners of our house, so went out there to look at a whole new system. Had people come by, number of different groups. L&L Heating and Air Conditioning, who we chose, they did a great job. One-day installation, no stress, personal service from start to finish. They even followed up to make sure everything was perfect. Now, our home's totally comfortable no matter what the weather. And with L&L Heating and Air Conditioning, we got peace of mind. So here's the deals they got going on right now. Free programmable thermostat or carbon monoxide detector with new furnace or air conditioner installation. There's no emergency charges, a $0 trip fee, price match value guarantee on equipment. So you find some stuff out there, they'll meet it. They want to work with you. They'll price match. They'll provide a free estimate. They're licensed and insured and have a 5-year labor warranty. Everything in our house works great. Love it. No problems. I even program my thermostat from my phone, which is great when you're traveling, right? Because you're worried maybe the heat might go off and you get busted pipes. You don't have to worry about it. So if you're looking for fast, honest, reliable service, I highly recommend L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. 720-851-1691 is their phone number. Online at bestdenverhvac.com. bestdenverhvac.com. I'm sure glad we called them. That number again, 720-851-1691. L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. All right, we'll continue. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We're talking the headline in Denver westward. Dog owners are sending their pets to the pound in record numbers. It's an indicator of a really struggling economy. You add this to indicators like record credit card debt being accumulated. But here's a question I have for you, Bill. Judging Jared Polis's 8 years as governor, has it been that good for pets? The economy's not good. People giving them up for record numbers. If you're a wolf, it's been a disaster. Imagine being kidnapped, flown somewhere, dumped out, and then shot by the government that brought you here in the first place. I think Jared Polis has been a disaster for pets. And his husband is a big animal lover.
Yeah, I'm of two minds because I guess I don't go as far into it as politics looking at it. For me, it's a heck of a lot more with some economic conditions, and I understand the idea of the politicians creating some of those economic conditions. But I think there's some larger things at play as well. And for me, I get into things like, and this is going to like a way too far, 10,000-foot view, but more the idea of the wealth gap, more the idea of the spreading of where the money lays in one part of our society and other parts of society that are getting left behind. And so for me, the idea of the pets being surrendered and the difficulty in the economy is that a rising tide isn't lifting all boats. Is that we've seen GDP grow in America, but does that mean that your particular dinghy that you live in with your family is benefiting from that rising tide? And I don't think that's happening. I think there are a lot of boats that have been left on the rocks, and that we're just making sure that certain boats are rising. And I think that's part of the problem. Is there are a lot of people that are having problems making ends meet. I know someone that right now paying rent, they're saying they're getting an 8 to 10% increase is what the landlord has told them for next year. 8 to 10% increase. And like, who do you know that has gotten an 8 to 10% raise in the last 12 months? But this landlord is looking for an increase. And yes, the landlord's right. It's more expensive for insurance. It's more expensive for water. It's more expensive for electricity. But the offset is that person hasn't seen that rise, even though expenses have risen. The one thing that hasn't risen is labor costs. We talk about on the show a lot that many times we say, hey, oh my gosh, my rent for my business is going up. Well, that's the price of business. The cost of my raw materials are going up. Well, that's the price of business. And then it's labor's like, wait, the cost of labor is going up. And it's like, wait a minute, you so-and-so, shut up. You're not talking about taking more of it's all of a sudden their fault. And so that's part of the problem too, is I'm not certain that some of the rising tide is carrying all the boats.
Breadman texting in, Republicans should run ads of pets being given up and crying. It'd be a good election ad. I mean, Marlon, you got to have a chat with your hubby. Jarhead Polis not doing good work for the animals. If you're a wolf, kidnapped, flown down here and shot. If you're a dog, you're being dropped off in record numbers in this state. Progressivism ruins everything, including the lives of our pets. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. It's 9 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Friday, June 6, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned in to the Jeff and Bill Show. News Talk 710 KNUS. We've been talking this headline from Westward. Denver dog owners are sending their pets to the pound in record numbers. Dog surrenders at Denver animal shelters are up 237%. I do attribute this to our political policies. I think people are running into a tough economic time. And as Breadman pointed out, this would make for good political ads. Just think, in the arms of the angels. What have the Democrats done to your pets? I think that would be interesting. Well, as always, and I love this about this show, we start really talking a topic and the actual experts call in and tell us why we're wrong.
People that know stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Love that.
But in this case, we have an actual animal trainer that he's a dog animal trainer calling in, give us a little bit of insight on what's happening here. Ron Littleton, good morning. And Ron, you're on with Jeff and Bill.
Yeah, thanks, man. Morning.
Morning, guys. So I do think that, yes, the financial problems that the government's putting on us is a problem. But all too often, and I see this in the 40 years I've been training dogs, people get dogs that they have no business getting. Meaning they pick a dog because they love its looks, but they have no clue what's going on in that head. So they bring this cute little puppy home and it grows, and then they start running into problems, and they think they know how to fix it, so they try. They may try a trainer or two who screws them, because that's another part of the industry for me. But they're not. They can't deal with the problems that the dog's giving them. They're tearing up their house, their apartment, and they just can't do it anymore. Or maybe it's growling or hurting their kids, and they think the dog's going to tear them apart, which is a potential, but they don't know how to fix it. And dogs are disposable to too many people. I work with a couple of rescues, and I'm amazed at the people that rescue a dog, and they go simply by looks. They meet the dog, and they have this expectation that the dog is a turnkey pet. Sometimes you get a turnkey pet, you get that dog, you bring it home, and it's like, oh my God, where have you been all my life? Then you get that dog that after the honeymoon period, after a couple of weeks, you start seeing behaviors that got them put in foster care or the pound, and they can't handle it. They don't know how to deal with it. They don't understand it. So they just say, I quit. I'm just going to give it up.
Oh, that's got to be so hard. And I'm certain that, I see that a lot in the reptile community. And Ron, I appreciate the phone call because people, for me, it's turtles and tortoises. That's a long-term commitment. There's a sulcata tortoise, which starts out really,
that's going to be
cool.
around after you're
dead. Oh, yeah.
Right.
It's something where you're bequeathing it to your grandkids. But those things get over 100 pounds and, 3-4 feet. They're huge tortoises, but they start out less than the size of your hand, and they have a really cool design on their shell. So a lot of people will take them home thinking, I'm going to have this little 12-inch tortoise and hang around, not understanding you've made a 50-plus year commitment to an animal that's going to be larger than most middle-sized dogs and be heavier and can, if it pushes hard enough, will knock down your fence. It will.
Ron, I got a question for you. So let's game this out here. Somebody in your in the situation you just described brings home a dog, and they've run into challenges. What should they do? Should they invest in a trainer, or should they just go back and return it?
If you make the commitment to adopt a dog, for me, it's just like adopting a child. You've made a commitment for that dog because, they're a living creature. They offer so much to us, but you have to go in prepared. Yes, you have to train a dog. Even a good dog, I recommend training, not just because that's the way I make money, but I see the difference. Just a quick one, a customer of mine adopted a 10-week-old pit bull puppy that was found in an area in Texas where they breed fighting dogs. The guy brought it up, and this family fell in love with it. Well, he turned out to be a real jerk as he got older. The only people that could be around him was the family and their beagle. They couldn't take him to the vet. They couldn't take him anywhere. And they sought help from a trainer. The trainer talked to him about the dog, great questionnaire, but never put hands on the dog. The wife called me in tears saying, "You're my last hope. And I don't think you'll ever get close to the dog." Well, I'm a little bit of a smart aleck, so I said, "Is that a challenge?" And we met. I do a thing where I take the dog and I just get things started. And he and I changed the way he dealt with people. By the end of his life, they had been able to take him to the vet for 2 ACL surgeries and x-ray him without anesthesia. Now, most of that is them. I'm just the facilitator. I'm going to show you what to do. A good dog trainer will show you what to do so that you can continue it.
How much is it training and how much is it breeding? Because I'm kind of the mindset that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like pit bulls are just naturally mean, vicious dogs and require a lot of training if you even want to get it to what you're describing. So how much of a dog's attitude typically is its genetics and its breed versus its training?
It all comes down to temperament and how they're bred. Yes, the problem we have with dogs is there's so much crud. I'm a big, I don't like doodles because they're just bred for pretty. They don't take into account the genetics or the temperaments of the dogs that they're breeding. That's why you go to Europe and you see these working dogs that are just phenomenal animals that do this job, and they're just incredible. But you put that same dog with you mix a good dog with a bad dog, you're going to have more than likely a bad dog. So there's a lot of it temperament. I always check temperament whenever I get a dog, especially a puppy, because I have a family. I want to make sure that they're going to be good around my family. I don't want a dog that freaks out every time something happens, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
We have done such a disservice to dogs in this country. The last one was, I think it was the movie Dog with Channing Tatum with the Malinois. I can't tell you how many Malinois I see in rescues and at dog pounds, because they get this dog thinking, oh my God, it's going to be this amazing dog. But in that movie, they probably used 20 or 30 dogs for the dog sequences. You take a Malinois that's a high drive, wanting to work, and you try to put him in an apartment and you walk him twice a day and he doesn't get fulfilled, you're going to have issues. Pit bulls were actually known as the best babysitters back in the day because they were so loyal and so willing to protect their family. Now we've bastardized that, and you have people who use it as a status symbol, and all they want is that dog that's going to tear up everybody. Yes, they were a fighting dog, but they were such loving members of the family, and they still can be, but you got to teach them how to be with you, and you got to give them an outlet. You can't just put them in an apartment and say, you're my dog forever, and I don't have anything else for you to do.
Now, Ron, I got a question for you. If anybody out there is thinking that, hey, they just heard huge influx of animals that are being dropped off at shelters, and someone out there is like, we may have space in our family. We may be looking for a dog. What advice would you give them when they're going to the shelter to pick out an animal? How can they at least try to look for some things that may indicate this dog may have some behavioral issues later on, or at least have them walk in there with their eyes open and say, what size, what type of dog, what are you looking for when you're interacting with this dog in that shelter area that may indicate this is going to be a great fit for your family, or may raise some red flags that many people may not recognize? What do you look for?
It's really hard to say, because when they're in a kennel at a pound, the dogs are stressed, and you're just going to see them at their worst in most cases. You'll find those dogs that are fearful. Those are dogs you want to try to avoid if they're kind of cowering in the back. Yes, my heart bleeds for them, and I want to take them out, but you've got to go in with your eyes wide open and really look at the dog and get as much information as you can, which usually isn't much. But if you've got a happy dog that seems like it's got a happy demeanor, take it out in the yard if they've got one and spend time with it. Don't throw yourself at the dog. Don't expect the dog to come up and want to get cuddles. Go out and just talk to them and just let them be around you. Don't force yourself on them. you can set the wrong dog off, and they'll either want to run away or they may get mouthy or growly. So don't go out and expect them to be a lap dog the minute you meet them. Find a dog you like, spend time with them, don't force yourself on them, walk them on leash, teach them how to be around you, and then see if that cuddles are going to come. And I equate it to, let's say a woman meets a guy, and the guy is one of those guys, puts his arm around her, and he guides her everywhere he wants to go, doesn't give her any freedom. That's no fun. Dogs are the same way. I don't want you forcing me. You can teach me as we go, but don't force yourself on me. You know, that Kyle Dyer piece a number of years ago where she got bit in the face, I cringe when I watch that because I can see it from the start of the encounter and what she's going to do and what's going to be the outcome.
Yeah, you can see
most people
the
don't.
behavior of that dog. That dog is telling her beforehand that I need my space.
Yeah. And so go into it and look for that loving dog, but don't force yourself on them. Find a room, be where you can be out, and don't, just let them come say hi to you. Don't force yourself on them.
Ron,
and that's a dangerous situation if you don't go in with eyes open.
Great advice, Ron. Thanks so much. Again, the headline we're dealing with, Denver dog owners sending their pets to the pound in record numbers. Dog surrenders at Denver animal shelters up 237%. All right, we'll check in now with news and comment. Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Hey, happy Friday. Good morning. It is 56 and cloudy in Denver, expecting a high of 67 today. The 7-10 5-day forecast is coming up. Our top story, it's D-Day. Never forget. Military operation began in 1944, World War II. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth in France today and led a workout on Omaha Beach this morning, and then the ceremony to commemorate.
So we just finished a ceremony here at the Arlington Cemetery where over 9,000 Americans are buried. And there were about 25 World War II vets still there, still here. And I had a chance to meet every single one of them after the ceremony. And they all said we'd do it again. We did it for freedom. We did it for our brothers. We did it for our hometown, for those that we loved, and for those that are still here in the cemetery.
In D.C., 47 will take part in a swearing-in ceremony for the Navy Secretary today. It's official. The huge military parade will take place Saturday, June 14th next year to celebrate 250 years of the U.S. Army and military.
You won't want to miss it. Just don't miss this one. It's going to be good. Thundering tanks and breathtaking flyovers will roar through our capital city as nearly 7,000 soldiers march in historic uniforms from every major war since the Revolution. Join us for this once-in-a-lifetime celebration. I think it's going to be better and bigger than any parade we've ever had in this country.
That's going to be so cool. You can visit America250.org to reserve seats. Sounds like the Jeff and Billy show needs to go. There's no interest from 47 to hold a call with Elon after yesterday's war of words. That's according to multiple reports. Trump said Elon, who had just finished his time working at Doge, of course, had gone crazy while threatening to cancel all government contracts with Elon's companies. Elon said Trump wouldn't have won the election without him. Possibly. Could be true. Hopefully, cooler heads will prevail. That was a mental beatdown on Thursday. Tennessee Congressman Andy Ogle said that this isn't about choosing sides. These are two individuals who had a big, beautiful brawl. May's jobs numbers are better than expected, but didn't come close to the number of jobs created the month before. The Labor Department says non-farm payroll employment increased by 139,000. DJT's attempt to block visas for foreign students planning to attend Harvard is being temporarily blocked by a federal judge. Of course, the block is in effect until after a hearing this month. It's a light public schedule today for 47. He will take part in the swearing-in ceremony for the Navy Secretary, as we mentioned earlier, and then also sign some executive orders. After that, the president heads to his New Jersey golf club. 45-year-old Islamo terrorist Mohammed Solomon, who injured 15 people and probably wanted to murder all of them, now faces more than 100 charges. He is due in U.S. District Court in Denver later today. Boulder County DA Michael Doherty.
What I will say is the charges reflect the evidence that we have regarding this horrific attack that took place and the seriousness of it. Although this prosecution is going to be laser focused on the defendant and the responsibility that we have, I encourage all of us to continue to lift up the victims.
A wild Game 1 NBA Finals Game 1 last night in Oklahoma City between the Pacers and the Thunder.
The Pacers with a chance to win it. Final seconds, no fouls to give. Halliburton looking. Halliburton driving, pulls up, jump shot. It's good! It's good! With 0.3 of a second remaining. Timeout, OKC. Tyrese Halliburton does it again.
Pacers shocked the Thunder 111-110. NHL continues tonight with the Stanley Cup Series Finals. Game 2 between Edmonton. They lead 1-0 against Florida. And the Rockies open the series with the Mets tonight at Coors. They go for 4 straight wins. I was trying to find a cologne smell for your soap, you guys. and my 9th grader, he's still asleep. He's sleeping in this morning, but he loves colognes. So I was going to go find out what the best cologne for arrogance was, but he's still sleeping.
Axe body spray?
Is that what it is? There you go.
It definitely covers up insecurity, right? Like, like every middle school
or
kid.
Dirt.
Every middle school kid who stinks and is insecure and just hopes that girls might like him just bathes in it, right?
Yeah.
So that's Axe. Yeah, there's
Axe
another one.
body spray.
I
Is
was
Trump
looking
still
at
selling his cologne?
I don't know. I didn't look.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Oh, yeah.
Oddly,
It was
I'm not
called,
on the list.
what was it called? Trump Victory? No. Trump Fragrances. Oh, this stupid little web thing is stopping me from going to see what it is.
Yeah, the firewall here is a little strict.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see.
Old English is still the winner, man. Come on. What is it?
Bay rum is the one that's the thing that is like OG for me. That's the one that my
Bay
dad.
rum?
Yeah, Bay rum is
Bay
an
rum?
aftershave. Yeah, it's an aftershave. That,
What
yeah,
is
it's good.
CK? What is that?
That's Calvin Klein.
Calvin Klein.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's Calvin
that's
Klein
Calvin
stuff.
Klein.
So, yeah, so he has a fight perfume
Yeah.
for women. $199. That's why we never bought
That's
this,
awesome.
Bill.
Yeah,
I don't have
that's-
$200 to just
Man.
throw at cologne.
That's
Now, do you guys
beautiful.
have like a favorite, like not fragrance per se, but like manufacturers or something you go to? Is there like are you Calvin Klein people? Are you someone like?
Well, here's
Marc
a bigger
Jacobs?
question
What
I
are you
have
looking
for
at?
you,
Yeah.
but Bill and Blake. I just went to my wife and I said, find something you like, pick it up,
Yeah.
and I'll wear it. Because I'm not impressing anybody else. I don't care.
Yeah.
So whatever makes you happy, honey, I'm going to wear.
Yeah.
So is
Love
that
it.
being a beta? Should an alpha male come in and be like, this is the scent I chose.
Yeah.
And you need to get used to it because I like it. I don't know. Am I being beta in that?
No.
Or am I
not at
being
all.
I
thoughtful?
don't think so.
Here's the reason why is because the other individual at which you would like to see naked most often, you're allowing them to choose the scent. So I think that is a brilliant move because you're much
That
more
is,
likely to
I
see the other
agree.
person naked more often because they like how you smell. That is a brilliant move. It's exactly what you should be doing. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You got it right. Yes, sir.
You
Yes, sir.
got me
A lot
all
of
ready
wisdom.
for the weekend.
Yeah, good.
Once again, Billy, thanks. All
You're
right,
welcome.
guys, have a great weekend. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Cool, moist upslope flow will keep us unsettled, cool, and kind of soupy and wet through another day before we warm up over the weekend. Highs only 60s to near 70. Showers and some thunderstorms around early, then showers and thunderstorms likely this afternoon and evening. Watch out for a few strong thunderstorms. Highs only 65 to 70. Lows tonight upper 40s with showers ending. Warmer and sunny. Near 80 Saturday, 70s Sunday with late day thunderstorms. Weather sponsored by Colorado's Best Roofing, reminding you to protect your home from the harsh Colorado weather and schedule your free no-obligation roof inspection today at roofingcolorado.com. That's roofingcolorado.com. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Well, coming up here in just a second, we're going to take you into the weekend with some cowboy poetry. Jeff Hildebrandt live in studio. But a few reminders real quick. Kyle's Karen's, your ability to get your T-shirt, which is like so uniquely designed.
Yes.
To mock Kyle Clark or to embrace your love for him, go to kyleskarens.com, kyleskarens.com, kyleskarens.com.
Yeah, we talk to both sides here on this show. We do bring in a variety of different perspectives, and we're giving you a variety of different T-shirts. You can choose if you support Kyle Clark and Next and the journalism there. You got friends, family members, go ahead. This is a one-of-a-kind T-shirt, only been available for 3 weeks, goes away today, and after that, they're gone. So this is going to be a collector's item. So you have someone that's a Kyle fan in your family. You've got that family member you guys have gone sideways at Thanksgiving a number of times. Here's a way to make nice. Here's a way to smooth over the waters. Or if you want to proudly declare that you like your news broadcast free of feelings. Maybe you want to join the not a proud member of Kyle's Karen's Club, and we've got a shirt for you as well. Of course, appropriately colored, either blue or red. You can choose which one it is, but visit us at kyleskarens.com, kyleskarens.com. These are custom orders. There's a one-time shot at this, after that never to be printed again, because we had to sign some legal agreements with the company so they can't be held responsible. So they're never going to do this one again. So it's one time, and right now we have sold one Kyle Karen blue shirt. I might actually have to, just because there's only one, I may have to get the second one ever.
Just
but
so
if you
that
want to
there's
be that,
two
yeah,
ever.
just because I'd be one of two. That's nuts. So I'll
Now,
have to see.
I like a good joke even if it's against a guy I love.
Yeah.
Tony, this is a funny one. Trump's perfume smells like tacos.
That's good. Nicely done,
Good.
Tony. That's good. Oh, man.
That is funny.
Yeah, listeners are on fire.
All right, we all know the problems the state of Colorado has with all the crime, all the weak DAs, all the weak judges that are like, oh, you broke into a business and stole something. Try not to do that next time. So it's a real problem in this state. We have a solution for you. If you are a business owner and you need to protect your business, it's alarm detection systems, the highest level of service and expertise, because reliability is not optional when you're running a business. It's essential that you get a quality alarm system. Think about the time you could be saving using just one source for your cameras, key card access, fire and intrusion systems. ADS offers expert alarm installation and testing by highly trained technicians, 24/7 professional monitoring, same day or next day service upon request, because look, downtime is not an option. Dedicated teams for cameras, access control, and fire alarms, and over 300 security professionals working for you. Choosing ADS means your business stays protected and you'll be ready to open tomorrow. They combine human monitoring with the latest AI camera technology to prevent crime in real time. Trusted by small and large businesses, including many Colorado schools, their security experts will review your system for free. So all you got to do, visit adsalarm.com and schedule your appointment today. adsalarm.com, alarm detection systems, the first choice of Front Range and Colorado businesses, adsalarm.com. All right, we'll continue cowboy poetry to take you into the weekend. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Bill, one of the best weekends this weekend. You know what we got going on out in Elizabeth?
No, what do you got?
The Elizabeth Stampede kicks off this weekend.
What does that include? What goes on there?
Well, there's multiple levels of rodeo. You have the pros, which is PBR and National Western Stock Show and National Finals Rodeo, right? Those guys, everybody stays on a bull for 8 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody does, and those are the best ones, and they really are like Super Bowl pro elite level. Then you get the local rodeos, and I love the local rodeos because, well, you know, when you walk out to NFR, which is in Vegas around Christmas time, it's like the Super Bowl. It's like, now comes Bill Thorpe, 8-time winner, $6 million bull rider is Bill Thorpe. And then you get the local guy, and the local rodeos are, here comes Jeff Hunt from Maplewood Lane.
Yes.
He's never stayed on a bull his entire life.
But his insurance premiums are paid up. That's why he was allowed to compete.
0.5 seconds. So if you really want to watch, like, your neighbors ride a bull, you go to a local rodeo like the Elizabeth Stampede.
It's like pub soccer. I like that.
Yeah, exactly. Did you want to say something, Mr. Hildebrand?
I did. Well, I really shouldn't, but I would. I think it would be great if we could limit Bill on the bull to only 8 seconds.
That's going to be hard. My wife can't do that. My wife's like, no, just seriously.
I'm sorry.
That is fantastic.
I'm sorry.
There's so many listeners
I've been getting so many texts saying that.
Are clapping and cheering on right now. That voice you hear is Jeff Hildebrand. And I bring this up because he's our Cowboy Poet Laureate. So this is the best time of the season for me. I'm going to go into a whole nother aspect of my life of rodeo. I'm not going to be on the political, Twitter battles as much. I'm just so happy watching local rodeo. It's my very favorite. And so I'm getting excited about this weekend. The family's going to be out there watching the rodeo. And then I got a Cowboy Poet that's joining me live in studio to get us ready for that. Welcome, Jeff Hildebrand.
Welcome. I am going to tell you a story that I was told is true. And you can decide for yourself. Russell was a cowboy, and like all cowboys should, he lived his life by simple rules that were easily understood. He had 5 rules for happiness, which seemed to serve him well. He left them on his tombstone in hopes that it would tell other men the secret of this Utah cowboy's bliss. So when it comes to happiness, his guidelines tell us this. A man should have a woman who will cook his meals and clean. A man should have a woman who won't lie and treat him mean. A man should have a woman who is funny. Keep in mind, he should also have a woman who is loving, sweet, and kind. And what is most important, he tells his cowboy brothers, none of these 4 women should know about the others.
Oh, that's wonderful.
That is a good one. I like that.
All right. What now, before somebody interrupts, when I first started doing cowboy poetry, I went to a Denver spot downtown that featured open mic nights for Western stuff. And that inspired this. It's called the Good Time Coffee Shop.
Do they still do this?
I do not know.
What was the name of the place?
Good Time Coffee Shop.
Oh, that was the actual name of the place?
That was the name of the place.
And this is what you've named the poem after?
Well, yeah.
That's why we love him.
All right, for all of you out there, if you have another name for this poem, when I'm done, text.
It can't be Bill's bull.
Kelly. Text Kelly. Don't text either of these guys. There's a place I know where the cowboys go to swap a yarn or 3 of things they did whilst just a kid and at their mama's knee. They tell their tales of hoisting bales or how they birthed a colt. And after each, these cowboys reach for a fresh brewed Java jolt. Oh, the stories told of exploits bold and the dangers that they face. Each buckaroo will swear are true, 'cause to lie is a disgrace. Cow stampedes and tumbleweeds, hackamores and hobbles, pickup trucks and lady luck, jingle bobs and baubles provide the inspiration for each evening's conversation. There's them who play the Western way and sing a cowboy song about home where the buffalo roam, and the whole crowd sings along. Now, Friday night, when the mood is right, and it's something you should see, it's a whole room full of wranglers spouting cowboy poetry about cattle queens in Abilene and the tough life on the trail, about calloused hands that work the land and folks whose word won't fail. Oh, the stories told of exploits bold are what them cowboys swap, as long as there's hot Java at the Good Time Coffee Shop.
Ooh.
That is so good.
Yes, what a narrative.
Man, that would be a great ad for the Good Time Coffee
Yeah,
Shop.
that would be.
If there is one, still, I don't know. Yeah, but it was nice to be able to get up on stage and actually get the experience of performing in front of people who were just as bad as you were.
Yeah, it doesn't look like good times around Denver anymore.
No.
Yeah.
It's sauntered into the sunset. All right, we've got more cowboy poetry coming up from Jeff Hildebrandt. You're not going to want to miss it. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, CanUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Bill, I saw lamenting among people in my social media feeds that Blink-182 is now listed as an oldie.
Yes, they are. You know what the rule is? You know what the rule is? And not many people know is.
No.
There is a rule in music about when a song becomes an oldie, when it can be played by classic rock stations or classic pop stations or anything else.
What's that?
The rule is 25 years. If you're 25 years from when the song was dropped.
25 years feels like yesterday.
I
mean, that's
know.
2000.
Yeah, here's the thing is that's why you're going to hear on classic rock stations right now, they're playing grunge. They're playing Pearl Jam, they're playing Stone Temple Pilots. Yeah, they're playing Alice in Chains. But that's also the advantage of classic rock stations is because they don't have to break hits. They don't have to look for those hits. Every
Everything's
year,
already
they
delivered.
get a giant pile of number ones that they get to play for the first time. So, yeah, it's somewhat easier to program classic rock.
Speaking of number ones,
yes.
Jeff Hildebrandt's live in studio with us. He's our 710 KNUS Poet Laureate. The show has been off the rails since the beginning, thanks to Bill's informing us that Sydney Sweeney sells bathwater in her soap.
Yep. Once again, I'm responsible
Which
for
then
this.
just, we all went into weird directions with that.
And also, one more thing, though. You know, Blink-182 is back together with the original lineup.
Oh,
Tom
nice.
DeLonge and Mark Hoppus
Just
and everybody's back
surprised they're
together.
all alive.
Yeah.
But we've come up with now, it was speaking of grunge.
There's Bill. Oh, I'm sorry.
Someone was mocking me off mic. Happens a lot on the station.
Yeah, that was James Taylor, wasn't it? Mockingbird?
Yes, Mockingbird, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bird. Yeah, you remember the movie that is.
Here we go.
It's Dumb and Dumber. Okay, go ahead.
Speaking of,
speaking of the show. Yes.
Here's me and Bill. Okay.
All right, Mr. Hildebrand, what do you got for us?
I'm going to serious up, okay? I'm going to serious up. Someone asked me what I thought about attack in Boulder. Why here? Why now? She wondered. And this is what I told her. As we suffer through the recent pain, the worries, and the sorrow, I hear talk of just what's next and will it come tomorrow? And as we wonder what to do, what to say, and how to pray, I encourage every one of you to do what's right and start today. Speak out against the violence. Ask God to intervene. Be a force for righteousness. Let peace and love be seen. Change doesn't start with someone else, whoever that may be. If you want change, look inside yourself and be the change you want to see.
Ooh.
There's a little Michael Jackson element to that, right? Starts with the man in the mirror.
Yeah, that's nice. That's really cool. Yeah, the idea of that, it's that, the most difficult thing on that long journey of change is that first step. And it is all responsible for you that we all affect the change that is around us. And many times the people that you keep end up being the person that you become as well. Yeah.
Speaking of Boulder, Bill and I were texting about this earlier this week. We brought up, and I made the claim, and I believe it to be right, that chanting Free Palestine is now a call for killing Jews. And the Free Press, which is run by Barry Weiss, brings that very thing up.
Yeah.
Once the flames went out, I looked around at the ambulances and came to a sobering conclusion. Free Palestine has become a rallying cry for killing the Jews. So, in light of everything that happened less than a week ago, keep that in mind when you're out there. You may have disagreements about military operations happening in Israel and Gaza and that type of thing, but at this point, understand that either chanting from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, or free Palestine, you're sending a message particularly to Jews in your community that you're calling for their death.
And the thing for me is that I believe strongly that the from a river to the sea is that line. I have a difficulty with the free Palestine. However, where I think that Jeff and where I think the Free Press is correct is because that phrase has been yelled now on 2 occasions after an attack against Jews has been carried out. And so when it becomes the phraseology that is uttered after an attack, yes, it does take on a different meaning. That you may go out there. I believe that if you're chanting from the river to the sea, you absolutely better damn well know what you're talking about as far as eliminating the Jews. But I may give you some grace on the idea of not understanding what you're saying by free Palestine, that you believe it to be such a positive message. But you need to also understand that because people that have used it and taken the lives of others and tried to take the lives of others have used it as a rallying cry, that changes the context. It changes the meaning. It comes with extra layers now. So be careful when you're going to say something like that. So you got to be real careful.
Jeffrey, thank you for that poem. One more, sir. Take us into the weekend.
Okay, how much time do we have? Doesn't matter.
Minutes.
I'm just going to keep
3 minutes.
talking.
There you go.
We still have 3 minutes. Yep.
All right. Sort of bouncing off what you were saying, Bill. Officials all around the world, elected and appointed, promise they can bring us peace as if they were anointed. Some claim the issue is the land and point to those who seize it. They think that if they shout loud enough, the people will believe it. Others say the issue that's dividing this great nation is the fact that we are suffering exploiting race relations or lack of trust in government. If the TV news conceives it and talks about it long enough, they think we'll all believe it. But no one asks just what's behind corruption, crime, and greed. We only see the aftermath because if it bleeds, it leads. That's the mantra of the media. Their concern is ratings gold. They want you watching long enough to get more products sold. And even in some churches, I'm really sad to say, when it comes to worldly weakness, some preachers look the other way. They want to keep attendance high, and one way to achieve it is candy coat the gospel and hope you will believe it. Well, the Bible says when time is short, conditions will get worse. It also says that there's a way to fight off Satan's curse. Love your neighbor as yourself. If love is lost, retrieve it. God deals with haters harshly. And friend, you best believe it.
Ooh. Wow. Nice message.
The challenge I have as a radio host is I listen to that and I literally just want to sit in the the feelings that come up.
Yeah. It's like,
but I don't want to have dead air for like 30 seconds.
That's okay. Jeff, I've got more.
I want Jeff and Hildebrand to just keep going, and then I just want to ponder what he said for 20 minutes, but that doesn't work on radio.
No, it doesn't. No. What we need to do is we need to get some sort of music or something to play behind, so we got 30 seconds of just thinking time afterwards, etc. And that's it's a good reminder though.
Let's take another one.
Okay, you got time for a quickie?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Always.
You're talking about grunge music and old time. This is really an oldie, but a mediocre-y. To the world of Western music came an outlaw one fine day. His tunes would touch the masses, and they still are played today. And if I can be forgiven for a little PC slip, I'll rewrite some Marty Robbins for a short nostalgic trip. A short nostalgic trip. To a town in Colorado rode a stranger one fine day. She got lots of folks around her when she stopped to make her play. Everyone could tell her business. They brought dresses, shirts, and slips, 'cause she came to press their laundry with that big iron on her hip. The big iron on her hip.
Big iron. Nobody under the age of 45 or 50 knows what we're talking
not
about.
Not at all. That's great.
It's a great,
it's a great
satire of the song Big Iron.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Big iron.
Big iron.
Yeah, you got the bass there.
Yeah, I know.
Well, Jeff Hildebrandt, thank you so much.
Hey, my pleasure.
Always great. It helps prepare for the weekend where I don't want to deal with any politics.
Yeah,
I'm going to go hang out with my animals and
for us, it's kind of, and hopefully for the audience, it kind of sets a tone. We've had a lot of disagreements. There's a lot of just chaos happening in our lives. But remember that, the weekend's coming up. It's a time in which you get a little bit of time to yourself. And we always want to remind you that just like Bill Watterson at Calvin and Hobbes fame said, if you don't spend your weekend doing something completely and totally unnecessary, that's a wasted weekend. Yeah, so you got to be able to do that one. Find something totally pointless and do it and spend your time having fun.
Well, the world's most powerful man and the world's richest man squared off in a debate that began about the big, beautiful bill and then devolved into personal attacks. Bill and I debated that, took lots of phone calls, text. If you missed any of that, go to 710knus.com to download the podcast. And especially if you want to hear a weird discussion about Kyle Clark and bath soap.
Yes. Are we actually going to be making soap that you can buy?
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
The big, beautiful bill?
Yes.
That's just what my wife calls me around the holidays because I put on all the weight. That's what she says normally.
The big, beautiful bill became the big, beautiful brawl.
Yes, it did.
I'm going to make a note and see if I can write a poem about the big, beautiful bill.
Oh, I'm so worried.
That would be great because I guarantee you this will continue next week.
Won't happen.
We'll still be talking about it. The big, beautiful bill and the big, beautiful brawl. Well,
the big, beautiful Bill E.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. Although I am saying that if this thing doesn't work out here, maybe I could be one of those more mature adult entertainers. That could be my name.
So you're bath soap.
There we go. Oh, I think I got sick a little bit.
I need to apologize to everybody. But thank you all for those that have been hanging out with us this week. We love you. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.